bring in some excitement in the marketplace. There are a lot of promotion activities that you need to do. There are certain things wherein you want to really get buzzed around. You want to get talked about. You want to get seen around and get noticed. Many a times, as a marketer, you want to do these things. So when you come up with this limited edition, at the same time, you want to make money on that, because consumers would be willing to pay money also for that. Those limited editions are the ones wherein there is an opportunity for you to do a lot of these things.
So will those be considered into product depth or just range?
These are brought only for limited time period in limited quantity. So they are more of technical decisions rather than strategic decisions.
Okay, thank you.
But Professor, they will still lie under the segment part, right? They will cater to the segment part. I'm saying that these limited editions, will they still fall under the segment part?
Not really.
Promotions, right?
Yeah, it's more of promotion. It's more of promotion, right? It's more of promotion. Yeah, Gokul.
Sir, so I mean, like example, like I did Google search, but I couldn't understand much because these are closely related. The tactical and strategic, what could be some difference or some example?
See, strategic decisions have long-term implications. There is a lot at stake when a strategic decision fails. While a tactical decision, if you really talk about it, probably there's not much at stake. These are tactical things for a very small time period. You are doing some certain things as a short-term stopgap management kind of thing. Okay. While strategy, you have to have a specific objective, a long-term objective to be achieved. A lot of resources are committed to that. So that makes it more of a strategic decision. Strategy is from the perspective of competition. Tactics has more to do with your internal objective to be achieved. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So now coming back to market product brands. Now, why brands? These are the reasons. Segments, because people may have specific wants. Now, it's not certain. It's not necessary that each one of them, if they are segments, in true sense. How do you understand whether these are segments in true sense? What have you gone through marketing research process? Are you familiar with some tools?
No, just discuss during some of our initial marketing sessions, but not a detailed research course.
Okay. Have you heard of something called discriminant analysis? Have you heard of something called cluster analysis? So cluster analysis helps you to form clusters, and these clusters could be treated as segments. So the homogeneity within a cluster, that is people sharing the same need and want, that is homogeneity within a segment. Heterogeneity across the segment, that is two segments should be reasonably distinct. So if you have to capture this distinction amongst the segments, you are talking about discriminant analysis. But if you have to capture homogeneity within a segment, you are talking about cluster analysis. Okay.
Example for that?
Sorry?
Could you please help me with the example for that? As in cluster analysis would, let's take a layman conversation or an example which would say that it's a matar samosa. So the cluster would mean that everybody could like matar samosa, or there would be an aloo samosa mix. So I want to know the example to know it a bit in a broader fashion.
Not a good example in this.
Where did that come from?
No. What I am giving you is the name of the statistical technique that could be used in marketing research to identify segments. Okay. Now, how distinct are the needs and wants is the issue. If these segments are reasonably distinct. Now, distinctiveness could come because of multiple things. distinctiveness could come because of the characteristics of the individuals belonging to that segment, or it could come because of their needs and wants. If their needs and wants are significantly different, these are different segments like safety vis-a-vis mileage, vis-a-vis status. Now, who are the people? Are they separate in terms of demography, style? Say, who is going to go for style in a car, or who is going to prefer safety in a car? So, the characteristics of each of the segment in terms of their geography, in terms of their demography, in terms of their psychography, in terms of their lifestyle, in terms of their values. These tend to describe, the more you describe them, the more distinction tends to come in.
I got that. Okay. I got it. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right. So brands are all about that. Brands allow you to target multiple segments. Why brands? Why multiple brands? Because they allow you to target multiple segments. Because otherwise, customer will get confused. ये भी वही है, ये भी वही है. How is this brand different? And it could be from the same company. Same company can have multiple brands.
Get me one.
Or you can have different brands from different companies. Organizations may launch multiple brands. Some organizations would focus only on one brand or fewer number of brands. This could again be a function of their financial strength, because more the number of brands, more is the money needed to manage them. Every time you have to come up with new packaging, new labeling, new advertising. Just imagine, it could be a very costly affair. You have to communicate about it. You have to create more advertisements for them. More the number of brands, more the number of campaigns, advertisements that you have to create. And if you are not creating that, you are confusing. Because by creating ads, you are creating distinction in the minds of customers. I know very clearly there is a brand called Dockers. Have you heard of a brand called Dockers? Have you heard of a brand called Levi's? Levi's has a brand called Dockers.
Yes.
And Dockers is all about khakis, chinos. Levi's is all about denim, jeans, blue denim or other denim. Now, if I have to create distinction between the two, I have to have different brands. But I have another brand called Levi's Signature. Have you heard of Levi's Signature?
Yes, yes.
Now, what is the difference? Signature is about low price brand. Levi's is a high up brand. So distinction is created. In the minds, there is clarity. Customer knows what it is. But I have multiple brands also. I have variants within the same brand. Like Ginger was spun off as another brand. Vatika from Dabur was spun off as another brand.
Oh.
Would you like to buy Dabur beauty soap? But you are not averse to the idea of buying Vatika beauty soap. Difficult for you to think of an Isabgol or say Chyawanprash being named as Vatika, because Vatika is about beauty. Then you have a salon called as Parachute. What is the salon from that Marico industry called as? It is called as Kaya. Right? It is called as Kaya. It is not called as Parachute. Parachute is all about hair oil. Yes, before I go for a break.
Yeah, sir, I want to ask too much of creating brand within the same category with minute distinction. Don't you think it will cannibalize the brand?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's a universal problem. However, is cannibalization really a problem? how does it matter whether it goes to my left pocket or right pocket, as long as it goes to my pocket?
Yeah.
It's better to get cannibalized by your own
Testing,
brand
hello.
rather than
Hello.
your
Other brand.
competitor letting you eat your share.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, cannibalization is looked at as a wrong decision. But yeah,
It
what I
can.
hear from you,
It can be. It is something to be taken care of. As long as it is making a business sense, don't have multiple. You can have multiple brands, but you need to look at the ROI. You need to look at the synergistic effect.
interesting.
There is something called a strategic role of every brand in the portfolio. Some brands are introduced to attack the competitor. Some are being introduced to defend the market share. There are different roles that different brands play in the portfolio. Colgate had to buy a brand called Sibaka. Why? Because they wanted to compete with Babool. Okay. Yes.
So one more doubt I have. If there is a cannibalization within the same brand, and the cannibalization is happening to the lower value product,
Yeah.
so it will make a loss to the company as well, no?
Yeah. So
Or
that's why
it will demolish the positioning also.
yeah, it can damage the brand. So that's why your ability to segment or to identify the segment is very critical. And that's why I repeat, it should make a business sense.
and I think therefore marketing communication also will have to be very focused.
To create distinctiveness,
Yes.
yes. Yeah. So Rahul, can I take your question after the break?
Yeah, I can take it after the break.
Yeah. So we have to wrap up the session by maximum by 5:55 because 6 o'clock you have another class. I'm told. So I will take a short break. 4:45 we meet again. Okay. Yeah.
ઉપર છે બ્રેક જ છે અત્યારે.
Yeah, can we start again?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
so having talked about multiple role of why multiple brands, let's understand. Yeah, Rahul, sorry, you had some question.
Yeah, I am not very much clear with this concept of brand reinforcement and brand revitalization.
I'll take it next time if it is okay with you, because then
Yeah,
we are
that's
talking
okay.
about managing brands over time.
That's okay, no problem.
Let me give an example. Data, whatever product they come up with, they are reinforcing the brand in terms of the benefit, which is in terms of protection. Okay, whatever be the case, like that is an example of brand reinforcement. Like I gave you example of Nivea, Dettol, many of these brands are reinforcing that. Okay, have you heard of a brand called Borosil?
Yes, yes.
What gets reinforced when you talk about Borosil?
Glass crop or
Glass.
another.
Last,
Right, right. So whatever they
Dinnerware,
do,
dinnerware, glass dinnerware.
yeah. So earlier, Borosil was all about what was the user and usage imagery of Borosil. It was restricted to chemistry labs.
chemistry liability.
First thing that you would have seen, what you call as Borosil, was the pipette or the test tube. But today, Borosil has entered into kitchenware. But then that glass aspect has not got out of it. It is all about, it's reinforcing the brand. Okay, Dettol is reinforcing the brand. That is the reinforcement. Revitalization is when the brand is Vicks is a brand. What is the problem with Vicks as a brand? It's supposed to be revitalized. The
Like
problem.
Godrej.
Sorry.
Like Godrej. Godrej diversified and they changed
Yeah,
the
Godrej
brand.
had to revitalize. Godrej, to some extent, had been able to float around because of multiple products, but they had come up with new branding strategy where they had created new divisions with new nomenclature. Godrej interior is all about furniture. It was and Godrej locks are all about Godrej safety. So they are talking about Godrej has been able to manage that. They had multiple brands. They had a brand called Synthol. Synthol as a brand was to be revitalized. Okay, and how it got revitalized is something interesting. It was a plain soap, deodorant soap, but then they had to really relate with the new generation, which they were not able to. So they came up with a new commercial, which talked about life is awesome. I don't know if you had watched that ad. Let me share that ad with you. One second. Huh? Are you able to watch it?
The video is yet to be played, sir, right?
You can see the folder though. You can see the ad.
One second.
जी सर।
Can you watch it now?
The folder is visible.
Yes, so
जी
the
सर।
folder and the selection that you are making is visible, not the video.
Now?
हाँ
No.
You
सर।
will just share entire screen. I think you just shared a window.
हेलो।
It's visible now.
Yeah, it's visible now.
When I feel the thrill of the spray and the chill, I feel awesome. When I'm splashing the power, I just wanna shout, I feel awesome. When I'm sold to the bone, did it all on my own, I feel awesome. I feel awesome. When I'm out in the wild, I feel like a child, it's awesome. When the world makes me shiver and the rush makes me quiver, I feel awesome. When my muscles just ache, but my spirit won't break, I feel awesome. Feel incredibly alive with Sinthol's awesome new range of soaps, shower gels, and deos. Sinthol, alive is awesome.
So this is an attempt to revitalize the brand. You know, uh, could I answer your question?
Professor, can we
So
can we say
we
that in brand revitalizing we are changing the usage imagery, whereas in brand reinforcing we are launching a different product to save the brand?
either way, both can be achieved by launching new brands also, new products also under the umbrella of the brand. Both can happen.
Okay,
Both of these can happen by launching extensions.
okay,
Okay,
yeah.
brand reinforcement can also happen, and brand revitalization can also happen through extensions of the brand into new product categories. Either way.
So was this to give a new direction to the Synthol brand, being not being a beauty soap but soap for the youth? Is
Yeah,
that what?
I mean, see, the problem is Synthol was being seen as a tiring brand. Synthol was seen as the brand which the new generation could not relate with because they got exposed to a lot of other international big brands. So a lot of internationalization had to happen for the brand because there were multinational brands which existed now. Synthol is a very old brand otherwise. So they had to really compete with those brands. And if you look into the ad, it doesn't show any Indian character there. The way it has been, and you have to come up with multiple variants also because people were not looking for just plain soap per se, which was a simple family deodorant soap. But people look for today, they look for lemony soaps for freshness, mint base, icy blue kind of soaps. They look for um, uh, medicinal soaps. They look for other kind of variants. So under the umbrella of Synthol, they thought, okay, Synthol doesn't mean just one green bar, the traditional green bar. They had to come up with new forms of the product. Shower gel. No, it cannot be just a bar. Today, if you have to relate with the new generation, of course, in India, it is difficult to talk about because for shower gel, you have to have showers. And even today, a lot of people continue to have traditional bucket and the tumbler kind of thing in India. The showers per se is not very popular. Slowly, it is getting popular. So you have to come up with new product forms. It's not just the same product. Godrej had shaving products also that also had to be changed because it could not do well, you know. So what you are related with as a brand, more Synthol as a brand was had a typical different image. So when you do that, when you want to change that, these are the things that you need to do to revitalize a brand. Brand name may get revitalization because the brand gets aging or the product gets into the decline stage of product life cycle.
Or it's
Product
been
itself.
tagged, or it's been tagged to a certain line of thought. Like,
Sorry?
or the brand is tagged to a certain line of thought. Like
Right.
Tata's car Indica was tagged as a taxi, so they had to completely shut that off. Or
Yeah.
Toyota Qualis was tagged as a taxi,
Right. Right.
and then they came with Innova. So
Right.
that way, there are not many success stories as far as rewiring the brand is concerned.
Yeah, but they did not revitalize the brand. Indica got killed. Here, Rohit, we are talking about revitalizing the same brand. Okay, so revitalization for a brand would be needed because the brand is dying or the product category is dying.
So probably the something that happened with Dalda, wherein Dalda introduced refined oils.
Yeah,
With the same brand. So it is revitalization by adding one segment different
Yeah.
from the what they were existingly doing.
Yeah, Vanaspati ghee was not really doing so well. So
They
had to-
introduced refined oil.
Right, right. Refined oil was very popular in India as a category. So they got into it because at the end of the day, it is also a cooking medium. Okay, so if you have to talk about olive oil as a category, it's still at the growing stage, and many of the brands, rice bran uh, oil, olive oil, cooking medium I'm talking about, some categories are being developed now. Soybean was strict no earlier, but soybean now is being widely talked about and used as a category in the kitchens. So that has grown as a category. A lot of brands have entered into soybean oil also, sunflower oil, soybean oil, a lot of brands. Adani, if you look at it, Fortune as a brand, and multiple. Interesting portfolio. Yeah, Piyush.
So after watching this Synthol ad, I just found out one more thing. Like for example, if we see say Lifebuoy also, then the positioning of Lifebuoy in people's mind is such that it kills bacteria, and you need to wash your hands regularly to kill all the bacteria and germs. But if we see that after the coming of Dettol, hand washing and all of that, so maybe for example, if Lifebuoy ever thought to revitalize into going for beauty bath like Dove and all of that. So, will it also impact the earlier audience for them? Because if they're changing the positioning of them into the luxury bath and like Doves and all of that, so maybe it might kill this.
Lifebuoy has attempted to do that. Lifebuoy has attempted to do that. But given the baggage that they were carrying, it was difficult to imagine. For that matter, even Dettol has attempted to do that. Because Dettol thought that their immediate competitor is a brand called Savlon. And Savlon had a soap which was translucent, look-alike of Pears. Pears soap, brown translucent soap.
Yes.
So Savlon had a soap like that.
Yes, sir.
Savlon promised beauty plus protection. So Lifebuoy changed. Lifebuoy came up with different color. Earlier Dettol was only orange, typical Dettol's fragrance kind of odor kind of bar. But today, if you look at Dettol, they have got multiple variants. They have attempted to do that. However, the problem is with consumers. Would you buy Dettol as a beauty soap or would you buy Dettol as a protection soap? Medical soap. It's more of medical soap. Because for beauty, you have got far more other options.
Right. So revitalization, it can also be dangerous. Like it has to be based on the brand.
It can confuse the customers.
Right.
It can definitely. There could be problems. You may end up in no man's land. Yes, Aditya.
Yeah, so this Synthol ad, for example, you see.
Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah, because now here it seems that brand is trying to revitalize by changing just the imagery, the user usage imagery. I hope I'm sort of right at that. And
user
my
imagery.
question,
primarily user imagery.
Right. My question therefore is, how if when a brand is sort of trying to revitalize itself, I'm sure they would have done their research and etc. But how important is it also to enhance product value proposition in a certain way, or maybe just also change the way, for example, Lifebuoy changed from a simple pink soap to those soap dispensers or those liquid hand washes. How important is it to also always look at enhancing products value proposition when we are thinking of revive or just get into a new category, but picking something which is old and just trying to position it as something new that someone comes back and says, "Hey, I've been."
No, it's the thing is that as long as you're able to do that, there is no problem. Probably you don't need to revitalize this as long as the product category allows you to do that. The revitalization may not be really needed. It only comes when you have limited scope to really improve the product. So if you are able to do that, if you are able to manage that, if you are able to upgrade, nothing wrong with it. I mean that means it makes sense also, and that's how brands continue to be in the market for long. But that doesn't really call for revitalization of the brand as long as it is working for the brand. Okay.
So then, sir, as a marketer, what are the parameters that one needs to be assessing whether, what's that inflection point, whether the brand needs to be revitalized or not?
If you look into the reading called brand report card, I think you will get an answer to that in that reading also, because you are able to assess the health of the brand. You are able to assess a reasonable good health of your brand. There are a number of things which are being talked about in the reading called brand report card. I think that reading I have given you.
Yes. I think it is a very powerful framework.
Yeah. So, Rohit, if you don't mind, just go through that, and if you don't find an answer to that, I'll respond to that next time.
Yes, sir, sure. I've gone through it, sir, but just wanted to ask that even at a very gross level, what are the maybe a couple of things that probably it puts us to think that the brand needs to be revitalized.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it in terms of the contribution from the brand, if you look at it from the point of view of ability to charge a premium, if you look at it in terms of its performance in the marketplace, in terms of market share, in terms of sales, in terms of contribution, those are the numbers that you need to look at. Normally, what do you look at? What is more important for you? Is the sales more important? Your sales can continue to grow, but your market share can continue to come down. Both can go up, but still your profits can come down. Normally, when you look at these numbers, you need to look at all the three. When do you think sales are more important? When you think market share is more important? And when you think contribution is more critical for you, or that should be the thing that is expected of a brand, depending on different stages of product life cycle, depending on different stages of market evolution and market growth. At a growth stage of product life cycle, market share becomes very, very critical because that has a significant impact on your bottom line. Your market share can grow, but your sales can come down. That can also happen because that would happen at a later maturity or decline stage of product life cycle. Why? Because competitors would have left the field by now, and you could be increasing your market share, but your sales may not be increasing. It can happen that your market share is increasing, but your sales is decreasing. And that is the clear sign of category decline. Okay, in that case, your objective is not to maximize market share. Your objective is to maximize the contribution. Whatever milk, milking.
Yes,
So
sir.
you need to maximize, you need to milk. Let's see whatever best you can get. You don't have to invest a lot of money in that. Your investment decisions are also a function of different stages of product life cycle. At a growth stage, you may need multiple brands because at a growth stage of the product life cycle, market share is important, and market share could not be achieved only with one brand. You need multiple brands at the growth stage. That would maximize your market share. And if you maximize your market share, it has a direct impact on your bottom line. Have you heard of PIMS? PIMS, Profit Impact of Market Share Studies? If you do some Googling, you would be able to find some studies which are talking about why market share could be critical, in what scenario, and how it really affects your profits. Because market share can grow, sales can grow, but still you may not be able to make money. You need to look at all the three numbers. You need to understand the relative importance of these three numbers at different stages. Where sales are important, market share is important, profits. I'm not saying any one of them is less. but the relative importance of each one of these can change, can vary. Yes, Srishti.
Sir, can you give me example of one brand that was able to successfully revive themselves, like totally change their perception? Because I've seen brands changing the either the product or the name or some kind of thing to actually change the perception of uh, customers. But like we've given the example of Dettol, how they tried different kind of colors and everything. So is there any something like that that we're able to do without doing anything?
Without doing anything.
Maybe just an ad like Synthol did, but I don't think so that was as like changing like something pretty big, because I couldn't think of any any brand
Tata
per se.
Cars.
Sorry?
Tata Cars.
Yeah,
Titan.
Tata as a Tata Automotive,
Yes.
yes, they have been able to do that with the Harrier and Nexon and all the new Safaris that we are talking about to some extent, yes. But
Even
that is
Airtel has done it.
really, huh?
And even Airtel has done it and done it very successfully. They changed their identity completely back in 2010
Yeah, yeah.
because they were seen as a mature old brand, not talking to youth, and that's the reason they sort of decided to change their identity completely and create products and even communication which was targeted to youth. So
Yeah.
I mean, you can see communication like "Har friend zaruri hota hai" or
Yeah.
"Night Match" or things like those. All of them targeted completely towards the youth, not just at a communication but also at a product level. So it is very important to not just change communication but also develop products which in the segment that you are trying to enter or trying to sort of move.
That's right. I mean, just communication will not help.
Yeah.
Communication has to have credibility, and credibility will not come unless you change other elements of marketing mix also. I cannot look modern only by, or I may not look contemporary only by changing the communication. If you look at it, even the packaging of Synthol got changed. As I told you, product form also got changed. The fragrances got changed. Okay, and communication also got changed. So if you look at that, it was not just a simple ad that got changed. Many other things also have to give credibility to the claims that you are making in your communication. That is equally important. The prices have to be different and all. Okay, fine. So let's get going with a very important concept which we were supposed to talk about today, which is in terms of brand equity. Okay, so what is brand equity? Customer based brand equity. I am not talking about brand valuation. I'm not talking about the value of the financial value of the brand. I'm talking about customer based brand equity. What is it made up of?
The
How do you
brand
conceptualize
equity,
brand equity?
I think the brand equity which customer is related to, or customer has some identity towards the brand.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Sanjana?
Sir, how much the customer thinks about me, like how much attention or mind space I have of the customer at any or potential customer at any point in time.
Would that suffice? Would you invest a lot of money only to get that kind of mind share?
Uh, Mind share with the right person probably who can buy what I'm offering.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
Fine,
that's not
also.
enough because they may not take action.
But that could be very critical. That could be very critical because that's the starting point of any purchase decision. Are you familiar with different sets of brands, total set of brands, awareness set of brands, consideration set of brands, and choice? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
So you are in the total set of brands by default. There would be some 15, 20 brands of laptop. You may or may not be aware of all of them. Of those 15 brands, you could be aware of, say, 7 or 8, right? So, total set to awareness set. Of 15, you have shortlisted or you are only aware of 8. Of these 8, you will consider only 3. Of these 3, you will only buy one.
That's right.
Can you see the importance of being in the awareness set? See, brand equity is Okay, all about the differential effect. Umang, you have disappeared. You had raised your hand. I was about to give you a chance, but I thought I'll complete this. Where is Umang?
Yeah, hi sir. I got confused with it, so I thought first I'd listen to you and then come with my points.
Okay, sure. So please feel free to talk or ask questions later on as well. So if you look at that, awareness is critical because if you are not in the awareness set, you will not get into the consideration set. It's important. A lot of people ask, what is brand equity all about? Why do I advertise? Why do I put so much of money? Because that develops familiarity. It creates awareness. If you are not aware of the brand, you will not consider the brand. You will not try the brand. So one of the very important constituent of brand equity is in terms of awareness. Awareness takes you to the consideration set. But is it very automatic? Is it something that automatically happens that you are in the awareness set, so you get into the consideration? Excuse me. Why? That if you are aware of 8 brands, you consider only 3 of them. And which 3 you will consider as a consumer? How do you get from awareness set to the consideration set? The easiest thing that you can do as a marketer is to get into the awareness. That's the easiest thing. But how do you get from awareness set to the consideration set?
Marketing mix or functional,
What
functional and tangible benefits.
There is
Differentiation. What
there
is
is a
the
very
customer
important-
value proposition for your?
It should be what? The customer value proposition should be what? Of what kind?
The utility, the imagery, the pricing. From all
Yes, it has to be at par with the other players. You should not be lagging behind.
Yes.
There's something called POP. You understand POP?
Point of parity.
Points of parities. So if you don't have points of parities, you will not get considered. You will only remain in the awareness set. You need to be at par with the competitors. If you're lagging behind, you will not get considered. So unless you have POPs, you will not get into consideration set. From awareness set to the consideration. Now from consideration set to the choice, what takes you, Prasad?
Differentiation.
Yes.
Point of differentiation.
POD. So POP will take you to the consideration set, from awareness set, and from consideration to the choice, you have to be different. You have to have points of differences. Are you familiar with these two concepts, POP and POD? Points of parities and points of differences. So why me, why not others? Because I am different. This will hold good in any purchase situation. This would hold good when you are graduating, as in when you are choosing one institution over the other, when you are choosing one job over the other, when the employer is choosing or selecting you over the others. There would be umpteen number of graduates with similar score. Why should they select you and why not others? Why should they promote you and why not others? There would be a number of colleagues of yours with similar qualification, with similar work experience. Why should you get promoted and why not others? You would all be in the consideration set, but then only one gets picked up. So you have to have a difference, point of difference. So get into the choice set. So awareness is very critical. Without awareness, this is the starting point. Unless you have awareness, you are in the awareness set, you will not get into the consideration set. One of the most important constituents of brand equity is in terms of brand awareness. Yes, Umang. Now you are reminded of the question.
So my question is related to every category has a one brand which is a luxury brand. Let's say a category of cell phone or a smartphone. we have iPhone. So when we come to a brand equity, does it related to a consumer want or a luxury, what we say, consumer perception values need? Hello?
I'm sorry, I could not get your question. Please help me to understand.
So my question is, let's say in every category has a one luxury brand. For example, a smartphone has an iPhone. So iPhone has always been a luxury brand. So brand equity is related to or like something about the when we say if there is like a point of difference that makes I'm not how I'm going to say like
No, not that every category has to have luxury brands. There could be there could be more than one luxury brand in any category also. It's not necessary, but yes, what is luxury brand is one has to understand. There is a difference between a premium brand, a luxury brand, and also a value for money brand, and also a cheap brand. So when you relook at it, these are the ones which are targeted at different set of customers. If there are enough, if the segment size is big enough, how do you pick up a segment to target? Umang? Which segment to operate in? How do you pick up a target market?
It depends on the needs and the want.
No, that depends on the size of the segment. If the segment is big enough, it is more likely to be targeted. But what is the problem with the size bigger segments? Size is not enough. Growth is also equally important. What is big today could be shrinking in size. Okay. So what you need to understand is the segment big enough for me to make money? The attractiveness of the segment is basically a function of multiple things. If it is big enough, it is going to attract a lot of competitors.
And how are we going to define the segment is big enough or not? Any brand?
Sorry?
How are we going to define that segment is big enough for many brands or other brands also?
No, that's why I'm saying, how do you estimate the size of the segment? The size of the segment, if you are able to estimate the size of the market, you should be able to estimate the size of the segment also. How many customers of that kind you are talking about? Okay? How many potential customers of that kind, that would actually help you to understand. That's why you use demand forecasting and sales forecasting kind of techniques, now, the projective techniques and other things. Why do you do that? Basically to understand that. But also one has to see what is big should also be growing. If it is shrinking in size, it is not very attractive. And even if it is growing, you should have access to that. It should be your cup of tea. You should have strength to serve those customers or target that customers. Sensodyne did not have the strength to target the mainstream segment of toothpaste. They focused on a small niche called sensitive tooth. So they worked only on that. They targeted only that segment. Because niche is a small segment that you're talking about where people are willing to pay a premium. So they did not have the strength to target other segments. They did not have strength to compete with already existing big brands. So they focused their attention and they carved a niche and they said, okay, I will serve only to that small segment called niche. Okay? That's how we go about it. And so could be the case with any other product category. So number of players is basically a function of the size, the growth, and the accessibility. Who all have the ability? Do you have the technology? Do you have the distribution network? Do you have the financial strength? If you don't have that, you cannot target that. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Rajiv.
Sir, my question is, can you please give more examples regarding this point of parity, like how to...
Okay, so you have to buy an SUV.
Okay.
Will you consider sedan city?
Honda City.
Yeah.
Yeah, sedan, I would prefer a sedan.
No, you are buying an SUV.
No.
You will not consider.
No.
But you will consider S-Cross?
Yes.
You will consider Duster?
Yes.
You will consider Creta?
Yes.
And you will consider EcoSport. Of course, EcoSport is no more available these days, but then had it been available, yes, these are the brands that you will consider because they are seen to be at par.
Okay.
right? Then you have to have, then you may put another filter, compact SUVs or large SUVs. Then you may talk about four wheel or no four wheel. So there are different filters. How many SUVs have got four wheel drive? The moment you put that filter, the consideration set will become smaller.
Narrow, yeah.
Okay.
Right? So if you want to get considered, you have to have a four wheel variant also.
Okay.
Right? So that's how you go for it. Okay, Rajiv?
Okay, sir. Got it.
So points
So
of clarity.
one more question I have. See this, you said that more if the brand is aware, if there is more awareness, then we can convert it into consideration and then choice. But if you see at Apple, so in the initial stages, Apple did not do that kind of advertisement or any, which other nowadays the brands which are doing now. So when Apple positioned itself, it was more on the positioning itself. It never did so many ads. Actually, only 2 or 3 ads were done.
Yeah, but then that was enough for them. Given the target market, there were other ways to reach out to those customers. Not necessarily the mass media advertising that I need to do. Because that tip of the pyramid or the top of the pyramid that you are talking about is small in size vis-a-vis the bottom of the pyramid or the middle of the pyramid. So why do I need to waste money on that? If I could reach out to them directly or in some other more effective way, why should I put my money on TV channels or other kind of ads?
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Okay. So where were we? We were talking about awareness. Yeah. How do you measure awareness?
Through market research.
What do you measure?
That what is your product awareness? I mean, what is the recall of your product? What is the likability of your product? That's how you compare.
Likability is different, Ritya. Recall is one thing, but is recall always important, or what are the other parameters of awareness? Because recall is one thing. There is something called recognition also. So the brand awareness is captured in terms of brand recall and brand recognition. And recall again can be aided recall or unaided recall.
Yes.
So unaided recall would be more in terms of just mentioning the product category and the customer is able to recall the brand. While if you start giving clues, you add him to recall. The more you give ads, you are helping him to recognize the brand. So recognition is somewhat more of adding to help customer recall the brand. The more you help it, the recognition is one thing that you see some certain things and you are able to recognize the brand. You see the wrapper, you see the color, recognition. Now, what is more important, recall or recognition?
Recognition, because there is no alienation with the brand.
For me, it is recall, because if there is a recall value, the recognition happens by itself.
Recall is unaided to.
Okay, so the relative importance of recall and recognition is a function of involvement in the purchase. In low involvement purchase, recognition is more important. In high involvement purchase, recall is more important. Why? Because high involvement purchase have longer purchase cycle. The purchase or the brand choice has been made before you enter into the outlet.
કાલે સવારે 9:30 વાગે.
While in case of low involvement, you don't recall all the brands and compare all of them, and then make the prime choice and then decide. No. Do you recall all the brands of Mint, compare them, and then make the brand choice? No. But you would do it in case of laptops. You will compare them. You try to recall all the brands, compare them, evaluate them, make the brand choice, and then make the retail outlet choice and buy it from that. You already decided everything. So recall is more important in high involvement. In recognition, in case of low involvement, recognition is more important. Are you able to recognize the brand? So that is one aspect of brand equity, which is awareness. Now the question is, people can know me, but what do they know about me is important. It's not about awareness. It's about associations. What do they know about me? Associations are very, very critical. So awareness is one aspect of customer brand equity. Awareness and then association. What kind of associations you have for the brand? All kinds of associations could be there with the brand. Positive, negative. But the brands that enjoy positive associations tend to enjoy brand equity. You need to minimize the negative associations. You need to maximize the positive associations. Brand that enjoys positive associations is the one that seem to enjoy brand equity. Sorry, Pawan, you talked about Visa versus Amex. Yes, it's a good example. I think Visa and Amex is a good example. Visa and MasterCard is also a good example. Yeah, thanks for reminding.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, if you really look at it, associations, different kind of associations can be there with the brand. Now, you need to see to it that these are positive associations. These are unique associations because this has something to do in terms of taking you to the consideration set and further to the choice. Depending on the strength of these associations, you will either get considered and further get picked up. Up to awareness, it is okay. It is easier. But if you have to move further, if your associations with the brand are not at par with the competitor, you will not get considered. And if they are not different, they will not get chosen. So associations need to be unique to get picked up from the consideration set. An association and associations need to be strong and positive to get picked up from awareness set to the consideration set. What kind of associations you can have? You can have associations related with product. You can have associations related with non-product things. Experience. Yeah. Non-product association could be there. Within product also, if you just look at it, there are times when the associations are with the category itself. Have you heard of a brand called Bose? Speakers. What is the association? Association is with music system or speakers or sound, better quality sound and all. That's a very, very strong association. Very strong association. And compare it with other brands like JBL and others. Or, have you heard of a brand called Mont Blanc? Yep. Yeah. What is the problem with Mont Blanc? That also has got similar associations in terms of sound quality and all. But what is the problem with that?
I think it's more or less associated with vehicles.
Right. The association is with cars or vehicles. You're less likely to buy a Mont Blanc speaker at home. You're more likely to buy Bose. Can you see the usage imagery now? Product category is same. Mont Blanc versus Bose. Category is same. But the association is very strong with the category. Now the problem with Bose as a brand is, how can I continue to grow only by selling speakers? Till what point of time? Okay, I have made changes, I have come up with Bluetooth technology in that, all those things I have done. But there is a limit. The brand doesn't let you grow beyond a point because of this association. So there is a very strong association, but that also puts constraints in terms of growth. Only speakers. Intel. What product category comes to your mind when you think of Intel?
Chipsets, processor.
Microprocessor.
Microprocessors, right? Now, what is the problem? The problem is they are into a lot of other semiconductor products, and they are into motherboard also. They are into RAM, what do you call that Wi-Fi thing? Yeah, router also. They are into many other product categories. There are many into many. But then your association is only with microprocessor, and there they are being given a tough time from brands like Snapdragon or what do you call
NVIDIA.
yeah. AMD also is giving. That's in case of laptop, but in case of smartphones and cell phones, your Snapdragon,
Qualcomm.
Qualcomm is giving them a tough time. So
Yeah.
there could be good news. Association not only with microprocessor but with computers, not with smartphones. Can you see the problem with the brand and the brand equity? Like Mont Blanc, great solid quality sound, but not with standalone home speakers, but only car speakers.
Sir, did you mean Blockpunk?
Huh?
Not Mont Blanc.
Sorry, not Blanc. Mont Blanc is another brand.
Okay,
Sorry,
yes.
Blanc. Sorry. Thanks for correcting me. All these names now.
Yeah, that's I
was trying to figure.
Yeah, this brand I also heard.
Right. No, Mont Blanc is another interesting example. In fact, that was in my mind. I wanted
That
to
was
talk
for
about it.
pens, right, sir? Yes, pens and accessories.
Yes.
And how much do you
Perfumes as well.
How much do you pay for it? For a pen?
Yes. Yeah, it's
3K minimum.
How much?
20K minimum.
20K minimum. And the irony is, those who buy don't write.
So it's a statement.
Even more expensive.
It's for making statement rather than using.
So they sign.
So when we are talking about functional benefits versus psychological benefits, this is a classic example. But Mont Blanc is no more a pen. You will see perfumes also in the name of Mont Blanc. Whole lot of accessories in the name of Mont Blanc. Because association is not with a category. Association is with benefit, which is luxury. Thanks for correcting me, Amay. I mean, this brand was playing in my mind, Mont Blanc. But the Blancpain that you are talking about is the speaker brand. Yes, sorry. Because
they've also started, they've also moved into TV and home appliances now.
Is it?
Yes. So they've launched their TVs and also launching home appliances like ovens, etc. So
yeah. But I really appreciate. Thanks for correcting me. I mean, I was getting confused because a lot of brands play in your mind, and there are similar sounding and all.
Yes.
And so yeah, this was Blancpain, not Mont Blanc. It's interesting to pronounce some of these brands, in the Indian context, especially, when if you relook at it, the Mont Blanc would be pronounced as Monty Blanc.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of
Right.
it would look more like a Punjabi brand than difficult to, because these names are very difficult to pronounce. Many a times branding or naming is also very, like there was a brand of shampoo called Ultra Do.
Yeah.
I think
DOUX.
DOUX.
Understanding of pronunciation came away. It wasn't there earlier, but it came very late. That people started pronouncing the terminologies and words correctly. ये जो आपने बताया Monty Blanc वाला, yes, people used to say that, but now people are very particular about pronunciation, especially now these days.
The moment, it also depends on the way you say pronunciation or pronunciation.
Pronunciation, sir. Pronunciation.
अरे हम लोग बहुत देसी लोग हैं यार, क्या फर्क पड़ता है ना? हम लोग तो जैसे हमारा pronunciation वैसे ही रहेगा. क्या करें?
And so the spelling of blank is Mont Blanc is BLONCK, whereas it is pronounced as Blanc. Mont Blanc.
Yeah. It's a typical French pronunciation. So, so when we are talking about these associations, it could be product related, it could be within product, it could be attribute related. Have you heard of a brand called High Design?
Yes,
What
yes.
comes to your mind?
Leather product.
Leather products.
There's a difference.
Luxury leather.
There is a difference. Initially, it was about product related, which was ladies' bags.
Yeah.
They changed it to leather. The moment you make it a attribute based, so within product you can have either attribute based association or benefit based associations. So MPFI is an attribute, multi-point fuel injection. What is the benefit of that? One has to see. 4-stroke engine or 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive is an attribute. What is the benefit of that? That's something to be seen. So many brands are known because of the attribute. They try to differentiate themselves on the basis of the association related with the attribute.
So what was it? MPFI.
MPFI, multi-point fuel injection.
सर सीधा लेदर बैग से ऑटोमोबाइल में चले गए, इसलिए वो माइंड को भी थोड़ा टाइम लगा कि समझने में कि हम लोग सीधा हाई डिजाइन से ऑटोमोबाइल में जा रहे हैं.
No, my idea was to give you example of attribute.
Yeah.
Like stuff with ultrons or all out with MMR.
Right.
So what is an attribute has to result in a benefit, and then the association could be with the attribute. Like 4-wheel drive is an attribute. Maneuverability or ease of driving, off-road driving is benefit. So the association could be with the attribute. Like Land Rover is all about 4-wheel drive. Okay, Thar is about 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So you are talking about attribute-based differentiation or association that could lead to consideration set or choice set. Everything else remaining the same, the 4-wheel drive can make a difference. Then you will pick up a brand. Why do you think a lot of these brands come up with 4-wheel drive? Because they want to be at par with others. Not all variants, not all the brands, but many. So they want to be in the consideration set. Just because Suzuki doesn't have a 4-wheel drive, it will not get even considered if somebody was looking for a 4-wheel drive. Right? There could be benefit-based associations. Different benefits. Benefits we have talked about: functional benefit, psychological benefit, or experiential benefit. So some brands are associated with those benefits, some brands are associated with psychological benefit. Mont Blanc is a classic example of psychological benefit. There is no functional benefit. There is some functional benefit, but not differentiated on the basis of functional benefit. Psychological benefit. So association. Now Mont Blanc can get into multiple product categories. Whole lot of accessories they have got into. So is the case with High Design. High Design has come up with sunglasses. You know what sunglasses have to do with leather? The glasses that they have come up with, they have got a leather coating on the this thing. What do you call
On
this?
the side rim. On the
On the
side
side
rim.
rims, right? On the frame, it has got a leather coating.
The temple.
Temples.
Yeah.
So that has got.
They are reinstating that leather is going to stay forever. It is not gonna rust or do something which usually happens in the other frame. So I was reading about them. So that is the thing that has come up for their brand category.
Yeah. Talking about durability.
Sorry. Comfort also. So at the same time, it is also associated with a lot of other things. Be it initially it was a unisex brand. It was a feminine brand. Now they have made it a unisex brand. So a lot of leather jackets, gloves. The moment you change association with the brand, so that automatically it allows you to get into multiple product categories and all.
Sir, there is first functional benefit, psychological benefit, and third is
experiential benefits.
Experiential. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you talk about the brands like you're talking about Starbucks, same coffee, but then the experience could be different. What makes Starbucks is experience. Yes, Aditya?
So
sir, how can brands decide upon extension? What helps brand to extend into various other categories which are non-associated with them?
Fit. Some of the associations that you have with that. So if you look at the associations, depending on the associations, you can get into. Some associations are easy to get transferred. Some associations are difficult to get transferred. Like in case of Intel.
Sorry, sir.
Like in case of Intel, difficult for me to carry forward the association that I have. What is the benefit? Intel is a classic example of functional benefit. What is the functional benefit of Intel? Speed of the microprocessor. Okay, now the problem is, where do I carry it forward? Speed, where should I take it to?
Yeah.
While some other associations, they are easy to carry forward.
So like ITC, I can't understand. ITC is into cigarettes, they are into greeting cards, they are into food products.
But then different by different names. If you look at it, barring Wills got into lifestyle and retailing and fashion and all. But barring Wills, they have got different kind of brands. Like their Atta brand is Ashirwad, their cookies brands are Sunfeast, and then their Welcome. They have got a hospitality which is called by Welcome Group, and their edible oils are being called by different names.
They have Savlon also.
They have Savlon also now in their kitty.
Yeah.
So they have a deodorant by name Engage, and they have a lot of other initiatives, but they are not under the same umbrella. Under the corporate brand is fine, but not that under the same product brand, if you look at it.
So can you, I'm sorry, maybe I picked up the wrong example, but are there any brands which come to your mind which are like into very diverse spectrum and may still...
Patanjali?
Yeah, but that's again an umbrella.
But whether they are trying to really create distinction among Dantakanti or many of these things, but then they have learned the lessons, and so Tatas are into it. Have you heard of Tata Pravesh?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So there is absolutely no relation. And Tata Click.
Yes, the online shopping. Yeah.
So because Tatas are not associated with a category or a business or a product, because the name is trust, so they can get into a whole lot of things. Tata can get into a lot of product categories, a whole lot of commodities also, a whole lot of eatables, commodities like masalas and pulses and whatnot. So the Tata name is there all over. So they have got into totally unrelated product categories also. Have you heard of a brand called Virgin?
Yes.
How many product categories it is associated with?
Yeah.
Just go back and do some Googling, and they are totally unrelated by the way.
Richard Branson, the same one.
Richard Branson, yes.
Yeah.
It was an airline.
Airline.
Vijay Mallya tried to be the Jet Branson of India. A lot of people say that. Kingfisher as a brand.
Yeah.
What all is into? Interestingly, how did he get so much of money? What did he mortgage? Why do you think financial institutions gave him so much of money? What he mortgaged was the branding. People said, oh, he is a big brand, let's give him money. And he ran away with all this. There's nothing to mortgage otherwise.
Sir, I'm almost getting driven towards a conclusion saying that a brand promise, if it is closer to the company mission, then probably the extension is much more simpler. Is it possible to conclude it this way? Like for
no, not really. Extendability of a brand depends on the fit between the parent brand and the extended brand.
Yes, I agree.
This could be into multiple. The fit could be because of the user. This could be because of the usage. Talk about a brand called Maggi. What is common amongst everything that is called as Maggi? If you look at it from sauces, ketchup, pastas, noodles, what is common? The extendability of brand is basically a function of the fit between the parent brand and the extended brand. There has to be a fit. Okay, like we were talking about a brand like Fast Track. What is the fit? There is no fit between uh, backpacks and sunglasses and wristwatch. The fit, a priori it may not look like, but the fit was in terms of generation. Okay. Patanjali, what is the fit? Not that all its brands or the categories that it got extended into has got some fit, but there is some fit.
They have shoes and jeans as well.
Right. Would you buy Patanjali noodles?
No.
So you are fine with Patanjali honey.
Yes.
But you are less likely to buy Patanjali noodles over Maggi or Top Ramen.
Right.
They are to be branded differently. Sakshi, they are into a lot of product categories. So that's the problem with those. They are into all kinds of product categories called as Patanjali.
Hello.
Only thing that they feel common.
સર આને આવું છે એટલે શું એને પૂછવાનું
What is common amongst all of them is Swadeshi. If you talk about all the Patanjali product categories,
Okay.
the only thing, the common thread across all of them is Swadeshi. But then consumers don't really buy everything that is Swadeshi, not for all the product categories. Some product categories Swadeshi is good, but like Sakshi said, pair of jeans. How could you buy Patanjali over Levi's?
એટલે જે ટોનિક આપે ઈ જ દેવાનું કે બીજું કઈ?
Say Lee or Wrangler, anyone else.
ઓકે.
Right, so association is
ઈ જે અત્યારે લે છે ઈ.
another aspect of brand equity.
ઓકે, ઈ ટોનિક 3 થી 6 મહિના કેટલી વાર દિવસમાં?
Product related, non-product related. Product related,
Okay,
attribute
okay,
related, or benefit related.
Thank you, sir.
We have talked about 3 attribute. We have talked about some examples, right? Be it a 4-wheel drive and all. So further, non-product related associations could be with price. Nirma, can you imagine a premium Nirma like we were talking about Lexus or Toyota, Nexa or other brands? For that matter, even we had talked about a brand called Aiwa. Have you heard of a brand called Aiwa?
Yeah. Yes. Music system.
Sony. Okay, Sony versus Aiwa. Price related association. Okay, Nirma is a price related association. These are the brands. Some brands would always have associations which are high price. Some will have reasonable price. Some will have association being low price. Other than price, there could be user imagery, usage imagery. Brands create differentiation based on usage. All bonds, if you look at it. Have you heard of a brand called Amrutanjan? Okay. Yes. Have you heard of a brand called Vicks?
Yeah. Yes.
Iodex.
Yep. Iodex. Paint.
So for twisted ankle, the usage for twisted ankle you are using Iodex.
Iodex.
For headache you are using Amrutanjan.
Amrutanjan.
For cold you are using Vicks.
Vicks.
There was no place left for Moo. So Moo had to come up with chronic pain relievers, जोड़ों के दर्द का खास इलाज. Then came Volini. Volini has nothing. Then they said no, ये तो डॉक्टरों का सुझाया हुआ.
Best brand.
Best brand. Then came Zandu. Zandu हम तो सब कर देते हैं. एक काम 3 काम.
एक काम 5 काम.
Yeah. So if you look at it, there are usage imageries, there are user imageries, country of origin effect. Brand equity could be, or association could be because of country of origin. French perfumes, German cars, Indian yoga gurus.
Yes.
If you are talking about yoga, being a yoga guru outside India, and if you are Indian, if you have some Indian connection, you have a lot more credibility. नागपुर का संतरा, आगरा का पेठा, इंदौर का नमकीन. Yeah. Sorry?
Sir, these examples will make us hungry and distracted.
I am also hungry. I had no lunch today. I
I
had
am
two
also
classes
hungry.
just before yours. I thought of going home and taking lunch, but there was hardly any time left. That's why I had to start late. Instead of 3, I had to start at 3:50. I could not go.
Yeah, probably we'll eat together after this class.
Sure, but you have a class at 6, I'm told. I need to wrap it up very quickly.
And then Gagan talking about samosa. Yeah. Mutton samosa.
Yeah. So, samosas and you are talking about country of origin effect. Japanese electronics products. Titan had come up with a brand called Skin, which has a French connection. It says the French perfumes and all. Watches, Switzerland watches, Swiss watches are considered to be very precise and all. So country of origin association could also be there. There could be organization related associations. Okay, there are organizations which have a lot more credibility, a lot more well known. So this product it's a Sony product, it's a Tata product. Now, if we talk about Blue Star, a lot of people have faith in Blue Star because it's a Tata product, or for that matter, Voltas. That is also a Tata product. People are not able to differentiate between two refrigerators, but because it is from Tata, people think, oh, it must be good. The trust. So organizational related, there are the other time you were talking about KFC. So we are talking about fried chicken. Now the problem is when they start selling Indian vegetarian food in India, there are a lot of eyebrows that get raised. This KFC is all about Kentucky's fried chicken. The association is very strong with two things. One is chicken, other is deep fried crispy chicken. Let me make you more hungry.
There I am a vegetarian, so.
Sorry? Aditya
I'm a
Bhandari is
vegetarian.
Still, vegetarian guys don't go to KFC.
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, precisely for this association that is there in my mind. You're right.
Yeah, but I have a lot of interesting Jain friends who are very religiously having their food before sunset. But after sunset, they would come and have chicken in the hostel. So they were religious up to sunset time. There, after that, it's fine. Anyway, but that's an interesting segment, Jain food. Even airlines have started serving Jain food. There is a message saying that we are taking
this for the feedback.
Through the launch. So you want me to get out? All right, fine. I'll get out.
Professor, I have a point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, someone else was also
Yeah,
trying
go
to say
ahead. Go
something.
ahead. It's okay. Go ahead.
So, Professor, the last two sessions and the two sessions today also have been very interesting. I personally, who do not belong to this background of marketing and MBA or any advertising, have come across a lot of new terminologies. So, would there be a possibility wherein you could just summarize the 2 days for us and give us some kind of reading material for future references?
Really, let me dig out something which would see. I offer it as a complete course. It's a 20-session course. So to put everything in 6 session, I'm trying to squeeze out, but I'm only trying to sensitize you with the basics.
Exactly. So now that is where like a newbie like me, or like I do not have any understanding, or I do not even work in this industry. So just to grasp those all terminologies and how it is applicable, I would want to have something handy to be read, like a PPT or any book or any pointer, something you could just give that to us, because I believe our association is of only 6 sessions, which would again wrap up in another one more day. So it would be better if you can give us some reading material to help us with our exam.
Same request, sir.
Let me see something that would cover up everything. All right, I'll give you some 2-3 additional readings that I hope that should work.
Sure, thank you.
Right.
And also, if you can suggest any of the books that we can or any website that we can refer to.
Well, there are textbooks, there are reference books, and there are tea table kind of readings that you are talking about.
Yeah.
What do you want, textbook or if you want a good textbook?
I wouldn't mind all of these. I don't know what others.
I think one good book is by Kevin Lynn Keller.
Okay.
So you can look into the book
You
by
can
the
just
name
type it for us.
Strategic Brand Management. I'll do that. Okay.
And would we find more information about this brand report card by Kevin Keller in that book? Because if you want to take this ahead and utilize this framework in terms of what sort of templates, maybe some Excel templates, how do we go about capturing? Well, I think it's a very strong framework.
Yeah. Okay. So that should be there in the textbook, which would get covered in the textbook also. It's a nice, simple, good reading.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Sir,
See you next
just
week.
one small thing.
Thank you, sir. See you next week.
Sure, Gokul.
Sir, one small thing. So you gave me the example of for attribute is maneuverability, and the four wheel is what is it?
No, maneuverability is a benefit.
Okay.
Four wheel is attribute.
Oh, thank you. That's
Bluetooth can be an attribute.
Mm-hmm.
Transferability is the benefit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. See you next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we wait in this session only for Professor Subin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Subin, what does he want to do to 7:50 and I'm sleepy? I think the simulation thing we discussed.
I have a complaint यार don't each session में तुम समोसे की बात करने लगते हो भी मटर के साथ.
I was feeling so hungry. I was feeling so hungry. I am out on a vacation tomorrow.
मैं पता है कि मेरे को मैगी का ऐड याद आ रहा था उस समय वो जो सॉस वाला नहीं था.
I know. I am holidaying in the chilly weather right now. So I am missing samosas and all.
Okay, if you say so.
This book is 5,000 की book.
Oh.
4,000 की book.
Anyone with the what you call pirated version?
ये एक बात बता.
I'm sharing the book. 5 minutes, 2 minutes बस download हो गया.
Lovely, Varun, lovely. I do.
Guys, I have one question.
You are a pirated king.
Pirated king.
Nobody asked. I have one question. I mean, next week is our test. Did anyone receive the recording from IIM for DART and SMM?
What exactly we need to study in that?
That is what we need to understand. What are we going to study?
I have absolutely no clue. I happen
अपने
to
क्लास
go
अटेंड किए
to
तुमने
the
तो कुछ
presentation.
हमने क्लास अटेंड की है. I have slept through the class literally.
You were only ranting about anyways.
यार उसके बच्चे में सो जाती थी. 4 बजे एकदम नींद आ गई, सो जाओ.
यार ये जो भी बुक की बात कर रहे हैं ना, जो बुक पढ़ रहे हैं, प्लीज पढ़ के थोड़ा समराइज करके हमें बता देना.
कौन सी ब्रांडिंग वाली?
किताब पे समरी कैसे लिखेंगे भाई?
जो भी बुक की बात हो रही है ना,
बुक की रिकॉर्डिंग पूछ रही हूँ.
अरे नहीं, जैसे वो रित्या बात कर रही थी और फिर दिन वरुण के मैंने सेट कि मैं डाउनलोड कर रहा हूँ, तो जो डाउनलोड करें पढ़ के थोड़ा समझा देना बस.
वरुण सब पढ़ेगा.
मैं नहीं देखता बुक.
Please वरुण, sorry वरुण.
आ गया.
वरुण कह रहा तुम किताब रखो, मुझे नहीं पढ़ना.
वरुण तू सबसे होनहार लड़का है. From intern you have stepped to the position of a head marketing.
Oh my God.
Dude, you should be sending across everything to everybody. हम तेरे भरोसे हैं.
नहीं वरुण, you can say अभी भेज के फायदा क्या है when everybody is asking me to explain.
Exactly.
अच्छा अगले हफ्ते की क्लास का यार सिलेबस बता दो क्या पढ़ना है.
क्लास का तो नहीं है वहाँ पे शेड्यूल में. क्लासेस तो नहीं दिख रहे अगले 2 हफ्ते के, बट टेस्ट शेड्यूल है आई थिंक.
आप टेस्ट का सिलेबस पूछ रहे हो ना? आई थिंक क्लास आपने गलत बोल दिया.
हाँ वही मतलब स्किप ऑफ टाइम.
आप और आकाशा बनाते हो, तो आप और आकाशा बना के दे तो हम सब पास हो जाएंगे.
Do we have the presentations?
Exactly, presentations photo
Presentations are there.
There is only one presentation comprising of 52 slides.
And there was this Word document that he had created, which is like Q&A. right? Bitly they create more.
आप लिख भेजो प्लीज एक बार दोबारा से आदित्य।
देखिए खौफ देखिए टेस्ट का, एक हफ्ते पहले सब देख रखा है कहाँ कहाँ क्या पीपीटीज है और कितने कितने नोट्स हैं। ये
I think we had asked Tony to send some PPTs.
हाँ एक वो टेम्पलेट रिक्वेस्ट किया था वो उन्होंने भेजा।
So today we are to Subin sir, we can just ask him.
अमित जी आप एक बार
Just
थोड़ा
one
नोट
quick thing, sir. Friends, just one quick thing. Sorry. He was teaching us display advertising and social media, right?
जगावे लागणी नो एहसास
यही दोनों पढ़ाया था ना उसने.
ये कौन है?
काई छुपायो नथी
Well done, Anisha. I am proud of you, girl.
नहीं यार, after I figured that he was not teaching properly and he was not giving a single, excuse my language, but then I also stopped giving because I was like, तुम्हें पढ़ा नहीं तो मुझे भी पढ़ना है. Simple.
Anisha.
Okay, Anisha, Anisha, hold your horses. Hold your horses. Right?
Hi, sir. Sorry, sir.
Sorry, not at all acceptable. Please leave the class right now. Please leave the class right now. Or I'll be throwing you out of the class. Right? A certain sense of decency is required. I understand that many of you had problems. I had patiently heard about all of your problems. But if this is the language that you are trying to use to faculty resources who come to class, then please, it's better that you sit at home. Am I very clear? बहुत टाइम से चल रहा है ये, बहुत टाइम से चल रहा है. All of you are adults, all of you are people who have been working. There is a sense of professionalism that I expect from all of you. अगर आपसे नहीं हो पाता है, तो then there is no point of us continuing sessions like this, right? हर छोटे बच्चे को पता होता है कि किसी के पीठ पीछे उसके बारे में ऐसी बातें करना is not appropriate, irrespective of whatever. I can use the same word, I'm inclined to use the same word, but I have the decency to control myself. Is Anisha still in class or she's left? And please don't feel, to all of you, please don't feel that you're just here to take everything because you paid us some money. Huh? We don't have that intention. I've made it umpty number of times very clear that that is not how it works. Anything that is genuine, I've been listening to it patiently. All of these things are not appropriate, right? So please don't repeat such things. Please don't make me come and do all of these things over and over again. You're on a recorded session. You're on a recorded session. You are all studying in this program. If you feel so badly that you don't want to be part of this program, then you're free to leave the program. There's nobody stopping you here. Right? There was some problem. It was rectified. I had been receiving feedback regularly from multiple people about things, how they are. People told me that things are improving. If you can't let go of things that have happened in the past, and if you want to come here and create this environment where you want to just abuse people, and there's no other word abusing here, abuse people, then it's not right. Right? We shouldn't be doing that for anybody, let alone to a faculty or somebody who has come here to make you understand something. Right? It's not like you're watching a movie and then commenting on Shah Rukh Khan. Aisa nahi. Right? These are people who have spent years and years together in the industry, have better understanding than most of us. We can't respect that just because he was boring in class, just because he said something which was not easily comprehensible. Why didn't you think that it could have been a problem at your end, that you were not technically so competent to understand what he was saying? Why didn't you know that it was because you didn't know what is the tools and what is the latest cutting edge technology that is going around? He's not going around abusing you, is he? Did he come back to class and abuse any of you? So there are certain things that we shouldn't be doing. Irrespective of whether we like somebody or not, there are certain things that are absolutely not acceptable. And this is one thing. Language is very, very, very important. You have WhatsApp groups, you have informal conversations, you might meet each other, you might talk about people. Irrespective of whether I am listening, somebody else is listening or not,
please take this advice. Try to speak good about people. Try to not abuse people, because then, if you believe in karma, this is what your colleagues and your friends and your relatives would be doing about you also. Right? So don't do this. It is not something that I can tolerate. Nobody can tolerate this. Okay, okay. Where are we? What are we doing? Others, turn on your camera.
So branding.
I
think we
I hope it was not a. I'm sorry, I didn't want to give you this what you say gyan, but unfortunately these things kind of annoy me a lot. Unnecessary hota hai isi, right?
Do we have a session tomorrow also? Because in the calendar it was
some special session
for me. By me?
Yeah.
No, I think that would be a mistake. We are doing.
But today in the calendar, it is showing that we have a session with you tomorrow.
I think by mistake.
It was by mistake. We have like this session now, right now.
Right.
Whatever it was previously.
So,
It was about this session only. Yeah.
I think some special exam.
सॉरी सर, हम तो मधुरम सर का वीडियो देख रहे थे, हमको पता भी नहीं क्या हो गया।
क्या विवेक जी?
हम तो मधुरम जी का वीडियो देख रहे थे, हमको पता भी नहीं क्या हो गया।
आप पता लगाने वाली बात भी नहीं।
सर आपने काफी पुष्पा वाली एंट्री ले ली सर।
आपने ऐसे स्विच कर दिया, मतलब एक मोड पे आप बोल रहे, दूसरे में विदिन सेकंड आप ऐसे घूम गए। हाँ ओके, हम क्या बात कर रहे थे, कॉम्प्रिहेंड ही नहीं कर रहा था माइंड की क्या अभी क्या बोल रहा है।
तो सीरियसली हैड नो क्लू। मैं खाना पर मैगी बना के खाने वाली। मैं तो
whole session was about Maggi पहले वाला।
या मेरे मैगी बना के खाया, मैंने कहा देख लो वही खा भूल गई मुझे। इधर से चल रहा था।
Sorry sir, sorry.
We talked about a lot of food, Maggi, samosa, and KFC, so we all are hungry.
Okay. So all of you
Sir,
got
sir, I request you, sir. Hello.
Jitendra ji.
Sir, I request you to have, sir, my recent advertisement film, 60-second का television commercial है Canon का. If I can start our class with having this action.
We will close the class with your advertisement. Will that be fine?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
We will go through some things and then we will close the class with your advertisement. So basically, there is no content that I have today. I'm just introducing you to the simulation platform and helping you understand what the simulation is. So all of you had identified groups on your own.
Sir, if I may, sir, just apologies on behalf of the class and also on behalf of Anisha. It's okay, sir, we can add her back, and so that she can also, of course, in a flow at times probably people just apology and
you can ask her to come back. And, the moderator can let her come back, but please remember that we shouldn't be doing such things.
So we understand that. We really apologize for it.
Okay, so all of you received an email from Vidya today from the office?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Access code and with the simulation that you are primarily going to use.
Yes.
So like I told you last time, what we have done is we have now created groups of 3. Each member of the group, like many of you would have discussed it, would get access to Mimic Pro, which is the search engine marketing simulation, a platform which is mimicking the Google AdWords platform. You will get access to Mimic Social, which is a social media marketing simulation, which in a way is going to mimic what Tony was discussing about Facebook campaign manager, etc., which is the primary platform which everybody has replicated. And thirdly, there is going to be an analytics simulation. The analytics simulation is going to give you access to a few things which you might have already discussed in some classes, and the later analytics module we are talking about coming out with a little advanced stuff. So the simulation is not going to be a challenge, or the classes are not going to be a challenge. In the analytics simulation, whatever you do, as I understand from Nihal and as I understand from Tony and others, we have already covered a fair bit of it in class, so that won't be a challenge. If it is a challenge, we can defer it as we are discussing. Right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm quickly going to put something on the chat window, and then I'm going to help you get this set up and get it ready, because that is an important aspect as well. Okay, so I have sent you a link, right? What you can do now is you can just click on that link.
Swami.
Right? You can click on that link, you will come to a page like this.
Here at the page, sir.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Now at this page, just put in your IIM Indore email address. The email address that was provided to you by IIM Indore, just put in that email address. I'm going to use another email address because my email address from IIM Indore is anyway being used. You come to a page like this?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So just complete the registration. Don't change the time zone.
Sir, email ID will be of our IIM1, right?
Right. All of you have to make sure the IIM Indore email ID is put. Accept terms and conditions. Submit.
So we need to select the password or the code which is given?
No, you have to select the password. This is your account. The next element is going to be your course. That is going to be different. So this is your password. In case you intend to let your friends also use the account, make sure that the password is selected appropriately.
This link we need to reserve, or we need to save this link.
I will send you the link. I'll send you the link on email as well, because not everybody will be in class today. But in case you don't have the link, you have no problem, because once the account is created, you can directly go to student and log in. It will bring you to your course. No?
Sorry, we have to create our own password.
Yes, you have to create your own password. It's your account.
So we need to log in now?
Yes, log in now.
My page is not opening.
Akshat, your page is not opening. What is happening?
I don't know.
Sir, it's asking for access code. Access code.
You have logged in and then it is asking for access code. No?
Yes.
Right. I'll come to that. Hold on. Everybody. Akshat, just put in your personal email ID and see if that works.
No, nothing is appearing. It's just a black screen will appear, and I'm refreshing it, but nothing is happening.
Which browser are you using?
It is going to Internet Explorer.
Just try another browser if you have access to it.
I have. Let me try copy paste.
For me, it's saying there is an issue with your course. Please contact support.
एक सेकेंड आपने क्या किया कोर्स तक पहुंचे कैसे?
I was just on that page where I had to fill in my name and all. And I did that, and I set the password and accepted terms, and then it showed me that in an orange box.
Okay, can you try doing that again, going back to the link and
sure.
that 1 second.
So now we need to log in, right?
Right, now you need to log in.
Click here to log in. Log in now, right?
Right, log in now. It will ask you for your email address and password once more. So you can put that.
Yes, sir. Logged in.
So people
so access code आप बताओ.
Share the link. Access code is already been shared with us.
So access code is already with you. Just open your emails, look at the mail that came from the office. It will say the simulation name. So Mimic DMA is Mimic Digital Marketing and Analytics. Mimic Pro, Mimic Social would be written next to the access code sent to you by the office. It was sent through mail merge. So you would have only your simulation and your access come to you. So just enter the access code whichever is appropriate. Yes, Varun, you had something to add?
Yeah, on the top right, why is it written round 1 of 10? Next round starts on 2nd.
you're going way ahead. No, the class is
okay.
Thoda patience. Umang?
Hi sir. So to have access for access code, I can't I can't access my email ID. I guess I already shared my issue last time.
You can't access your IIM Indore email ID. Is that what you're saying?
Yes sir. I already did.
Just send me a mail with your on your account. I'll give you the access.
Hi, Professor. Can you please repeat the initial steps I had to drop because of my network?
Okay. Now, for people who have already come here, just enter your access code and just hold on. I'll come there. But for people who haven't yet been here, I'm just going to do that once again. Umang, you have my email address, no?
Yes, I have your email address.
But this one you're saying is not working. So you just send me an email from your
personal email address
or working or whichever email account. Send me an email so that I'll send you your access code to that.
Okay.
The password is the access code, right?
No, the password is something that you have to set.
Achha, I have to set it.
Sir, can you share the link again?
Yes,
the access code has to be for that specific module we have been assigned. Right?
One second. Let me just take it, Monica. One second. Let me just take it once again. So I have sent the link.
मेरी hard copy आ गई है. Hard copy मेरे घर में आ गई है.
जान के अच्छा लगा. Right, so
Sorry, I forgot.
No problem. Right. So I have sent the link once again. Right? Click on that link. When you click on that link, you should get to page like this. On this page, you can put in your IIM Indore email account. Hit on submit. It will give you a registration page.
Sir, I'm sorry. I guess I have missed something. So I could see all of this on one page. I mean, so I need to select the one which I have received on my email, right?
Right. Gaganji, just hold on. I'll explain that. I have not yet come to that part. I'm helping people who have dropped off, etc. to understand this. Right? Somebody has fixed the video too also. Right? So, can I expect that everybody has registered themselves? Anybody who has a challenge in registering?
Pizza खावा?
So I am having some problems. So saying login.
What is happening?
Invalid again saying I've already registered. Invalid.
No, sorry. What is the message? Invalid is what?
Invalid login credentials. I've already registered it. And after I'm getting to login, putting all the details, it's saying invalid details.
The email address, password, all of that. Have you double checked?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, just can you use the link once again and try it afresh in a new tab?
Yeah, I do.
Hi sir. Sir, can you repeat your email address? CPDMS office.
Just send it to my ID. It is SUBINS.
Sorry about that.
SUBINS at IIMIDR.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Manish, you had some concerns?
Yes, Professor. Actually, I was just thinking that which should I choose? I mean, all from the these three options.
Don't worry about that. Umang and Saurabh, just hold on, just listen to what is happening. In the meantime, I'll stop sharing and send you the access code. Saurabh, just let me know if it works. I hope everybody else's things are sorted out. You should.
Sir, access codes. Actually, I have not received on my mail.
Yeah, even I haven't received.
I haven't received yet.
Check your spam folders.
I checked the spam. I also refreshed and then I deleted some emails.
Should
Were you part of the group list, Gokul? Or you missed out on the group?
Yes, I was added by a group and then I speak to somebody. I forgot his name because I was working. So I was added in group number 2 or 3.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just confirm.
So even I haven't got the access code.
Okay, so people who haven't received the access code, just send me an email. Send an email to this account.
Professor, I've created the account. What are the next steps?
We'll get there. Okay. So just send me an email and I'll give you your access codes. Just put in your name also. Right? So we'll do that in 5 minutes. And during the time, Umang and others, please follow what is going on so that we can quickly do this. It's not going to be very difficult. So once you put in all the details, it is going to get you to this particular page, I believe. It is going to get you to this page. Some of you have already identified this, but for the others, whichever is the simulation that is mentioned in your email account, the email that you received, there is a simulation and an access code that is mentioned. If it is Mimic DMA, click on enter access code here. If it is Mimic Pro, click on enter access code here. If it is Mimic Social, click on enter access code here. When you click on it, you'll get an option to put in the access code. Just put the access code and hit continue.
सर समझ में नहीं आया क्या बोला आपने?
मैं ये बता रहा था
ऑल थ्री
ईमेल मिला होगा आपको ऑफिस से,
एक्सेस कोड है मेरे पास।
राइट, तो एक्सेस कोड के साथ में वो कौन सा सिमुलेशन है वो भी मेंशन होगा।
ओके ओके
राइट, तो इनमें से इन तीनों में से एक सिमुलेशन का एक्सेस कोड है।
ओके
राइट, तो एक ग्रुप मेंबर को पहला मिलेगा, दूसरे को दूसरा, तीसरे को तीसरा। सक्सेसफुल प्रथमेश। ओके, मोनिका, वन मोर क्वेश्चन।
And I'm entering my, the access code. It says that it's invalid.
Just see if you have copied the entire thing or if there is a space or something that is copied astray. ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है।
ऑर्डर करूँ क्या नहीं?
So now
Arjun, no? Arjun, no?
particular simulation.
Right. We'll come to that. Saurabh, any
Sir, same problem, invalid.
ठीक है, just hold on. We will have to reach out to the technical support and figure out what is happening. So we'll do that after the class. आप देख लीजिए कि क्या है, and then you can do it. Muskan, Reshma, Shailendra, Jyoti, Sumit, all of them have been able to do it. ठीक है.
Sir, access code डालने के बाद they are asking for product and MI.
They are asking for what?
Sir, access code is saying invalid.
No, one access code. What is it saying?
Sir, like this enter access code, there's 59.19 USD for digital marketing analytics, Mimix code 15 point like that. They're asking.
नीचे जाके कोड है।
ये एक्सेस कोड आपको स्क्रीन पे दिख रहा है, एक्सेस कोड लिखा हुआ।
हाँ जी।
वहाँ पे एक्सेस कोड डालिए, कंटिन्यू क्लिक करिए।
ओके।
Right. It should work for everybody, but maybe there is some small little gap. I'm just looking at.
अर्जुन नो करवानो है क्या नहीं?
It was a video walkthrough. When you open that video walkthrough page opens.
Right. I'll come to that. Umang, you are in group with Kapil and Vivek, no?
Yes, sir. Kapil and Vivek.
Just people just hold on, huh? Don't get too excited. I'm just going to sort out the access code of people that have requested and then we will go. Umang Kalra, that is your login name, no Umang?
Yes, sir. Umang Kalra.
Right. And 1106 is your roll number. Yes?
I'm not sure about roll number. I have to check it once. I guess the only Umang is the.
Only Umang is you, no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I have just sent you a message. That is your access code. Who else has made me? Rajiv and Gokul.
Yeah.
Oh, Rajiv, you already have it. Okay, Gokul.
The roll number ends with 103.
Yes, sir, I received it.
Gokul, you also received it?
No, sir, no.
Okay. Which group are you in, Gokul? With whom are you in groups?
It should be either 2 or 3.
So Gokul and Ranjan, no?
Yeah.
Sir, I also did the serial code.
मुझे mail कर दो, जिन्होंने भी
Sir, I have also sent a mail to you. There is Saurabh Singh.
Gokul, there is only one Gokul in class, no?
Yes, that's
right. So Gokul is the lucky candidate. Because this information that has come to me, Gokul's group only has 2 people. Am I right, Gokul?
Yes, sir. That was there was an issue.
You and Mr. Rajesh Kumar Diol, right? So you get 2 access codes because you are a lucky trump card, right? So you can put in the access codes for 2 simulations. Of course, this is because you are doing a group activity. Send it to you also. Who else? I have not received any other emails for Saurabh. Yes, I have got it in my spam folder because I think I have used a ATCS account.
Yeah, sir.
Saurabh Singh or Saurabh Kumar Singh?
Saurabh Kumar, sir.
And who are your group mates?
I remember one guy's name, Rajesh Jambiar.
And the other is you.
Yeah.
The people who have logged in have already exited them. Saurabh, just send me a private chat because both Saurabhs have marked them as Saurabh. Okay. Oops. You shouldn't be showing all of this, no? Because then you would be using this.
So once more.
Once more, sir.
But still, the problem is I control the recordings, no? Right, okay. So I'm just going to set this back up. Right. So now you would have come to this page. Saurabh, just send me a chat so that I can reply and send it to you. Okay. Right? So you have all the 3 simulations now. The important thing to remember is you will still have access to purchase the other 2 simulations in case you require it or in case you feel like, but you probably have access to it through your teammates, so you wouldn't need to purchase it, and that's why we have done it in this fashion. You would have the same link, go to Mimic Digital Analytics, go to Mimic Pro, go to Mimic Social, am I right? Or you will have at least one of them highlighted, 2 of them will still ask you to pay. Correct? Sure?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, correct.
Okay. So this is going to be the dashboard from where we will work. All 3 simulations are different and all 3 simulations have different settings. What we have done is we have made it a standard practice that all 3 simulations will run for 10 rounds. And these 3 simulations are going to be starting on every Saturday. So you will have the first round start today. The next round is going to start on the next Saturday, right? So you have 1 week time, and possibly I would expect you to sit on a Sunday and finish off all the 3 simulations each round, or maybe Monday, Tuesday, etc. Whichever is convenient to the group, you can do that. So week after week, if you do that, you will be having one second. Anisha also needs to have the access. But why is that all of you are not telling the office to correct your email problems?
I already dropped the 2 mails, but I didn't receive any response from there.
From Times or IIM?
From Times and IIM. I informed both of them.
Okay, just mark me a copy and send emails. I'll make sure they
Sir, I dropped to IIM only.
Okay, sir.
And I have not received the reply, but luckily I have the access on the mobile, so it's fine for me.
Right. Anisha, who are your group mates?
Pratik, if I'm not mistaken.
There are multiple Anishas in class?
No, sir, just me.
The information I have is Shruti and Ananya are your groupmates.
Okay.
I hope it's not going to lead to more challenges. Okay, so that is your access code also. Right, so where was I? I was saying that these three simulations are expected, that it is expected that you work week after week, because the way these simulations have been designed, the first rounds are going to be easy, the subsequent rounds are going to be a little more advanced, and together they help you understand that particular tool or that particular concept better. So if you start the round on 29th of January, which is today, you would probably be able to do it after 2 weeks also. Right? The round doesn't close on itself. I have not set it up in a manner that the round will close. But if you don't do it, then you'll have 2 rounds and probably you will have a lot of work to do. So try to do it systematically week after week. Let me go one by one to the simulation. So people who have Mimic Pro will have something similar to this when they click on go to Mimic Pro. And this is the student access which I am showing you. Right? You will have a video walkthrough. The video walkthrough is basically a detailed video about what this particular tool is trying to do, what is the way in which your tasks are designed, which company are you representing, because here we are talking about a company which is selling digital cameras. So your search engine advertisements are going to be around digital cameras. So you can see you have GoPro Hero 4, Canon Rebel, Panasonic Lumix, etc., etc., etc. So the first activity that you have to do once you get into this platform is to completely watch the entire video. It's a 17, 18-minute long video. So don't do that now. You can watch it at your own leisure. Once that happens, you hit on get started. It will take you to the details about what the platform is providing and what information is there. If you hide all the instruction, it will give you specific data that you have to look for, because this instruction is going to be common in most pages and most rounds that you see. So after the first round, you might not need to look at all of that, right? And these are things that you can keep playing around. You all understand how simulations work. No? There is a mathematical model at the back. So it is going to look at your inputs, and based on that, it is going to assess how you have performed. So it is talking about Kent's website, which was launched 9 years ago, and what is being done by Kent. It is talking about what revenue means, what profit means, what unit sales means, what visit means, etc. And it is talking about the email addresses that they already have, and you can run an email campaign. And basically, this is going to be the task that is being assigned to you. Anybody was saying something? Any questions? Okay.
Sir, sorry. So just I'm repeating, the way to go forward is that the entire group on a mutual convenient time sit together. There is a display, and we all three of us go through this module together.
Right. So what exactly can be the best way of doing this is that, say for example, if Rohit, Aditya and me are in one group, I'm showing you at this point of time, can have a Zoom call. I can get Rohit and Aditya to see my account where I have the Mimic Pro open, and I can tell Rohit and Aditya that this is the particular task we have. We have to identify the list of keywords which you will be managing. We have to identify the URLs. We have to create the first SEM ad campaign. We have to run an email campaign. This is what we have to do. And in order to do that, we need data to make sense of what is happening. Where do we have data? We have data in terms of page traffic. We have the different channels from where people are coming, and most of these things are also explained here. So you have explanations of what this is, etc. The origination of this is provided. So some basic information is there for you. Gagan, you had a question?
Yes, sir.
All the three of us, yeah, Gagan, you go on.
Use 1 second.
So sorry if I am not missing anything. So this would be already available in the Mimic Pro, as in the task would be available and we'll have to evaluate the same task, or we have to.
See, let me tell you, the simulation is like a more advanced version of a case study. In a case study, you have details about MasterCard, about Adobe, about a lot of other things. It is asking you to synthesize all this information and make decisions.
Yes,
Here,
sir. Yes, sir.
it is basically doing the same thing, but it is giving you a real tool-like environment, wherein your decisions are not just being laid on paper, but you are working on a tool and making the decision there. So, like
So I am getting a real time analytics of everything what is happening around and how I'm going to go about.
It is not real time in the sense that you cannot, say for example, try to optimize the Airtel website. That is not happening. It has created an environment where you are going to work for this company called Kent. And you're
I
going to
understand that, sir. I got that, sir. I got that, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
use.
So this is the topic here is Kent for Mimic Pro. So for Mimic DM and for Mimic Social, it's going to the same company, right? About the Kent only.
No, it will be different. For the other two, it's a different company. I'll explain. It's called Boutique. I'll explain. Yes, Ritya.
So my question is answered. Just one request, maybe it can come later, that by the end of this entire simulation setting, can we all have similar case studies discussed in the class for the benefit of all, or most of them?
We will have this. All of this is part of number works simply come in the analytics part. So we have enough case studies on this. Drishti?
Know if you will actually take us through all the solution, because right now I think you are in PPC ad.
I will take you through and familiarize you to all three, but I won't help you solve the problems that you have.
No, that I get it. Just wants to take us through, because there's an option called run it. So should I run it now?
No. Don't run anything, because first of all, without putting all the required inputs, it won't run. But even otherwise, don't run it now, because your group mates also have to give you insights. They also have to learn from you.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to know first, because I'm not sure right now.
Amit?
Yes, sir. So you mean to say the changes what our group member will do in Mimic Pro and Mimic Social, that will affect the Mimic Analytics?
No, it will not. It will not. Each of them is standalone. But if changes are being done by one individual and submitted, the other two don't get the opportunity to learn. Right?
No, I didn't get it.
Say for example, you, Piyush and me are in one group.
Okay.
Right? You and Piyush are sitting in office and working very hard on a deadline that you have. I complete the simulation round. Week after week, if I do this, both of you don't get access to the simulation that I have access to. No? So that is why I said all three of us sit together, understand the context and make decisions together.
Okay.
એટલે
But that is not
circleથી
interesting.
સીધા આવો ઓલો અમૂલનો છે ને પંચાયત ચોક અમૂલનો છે ને ત્યાંથી ડાબી બાજુ ચિત્રકૂટ એપાર્ટમેન્ટ.
Pastor, you're on mute.
So I have a specific question that we three of us synchronize the things week after week. How I will be evaluated and how others will be evaluated. What I have done.
You will be evaluated as a group. So there are grading patterns which I have identified. So depending on how well you perform, one is how systematically you complete the rounds. Two is how well you have scored in each of those rounds. As a group, it will be evaluated. So in a simplistic manner, you can assume that there will be 10 marks every week for each simulation. So out of 30, each group will be scored. And for 10 weeks, this will happen.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So yes, so this is some preliminary information that is there. Now for search engines, and the others I'll tell you about the other two also. So for search engines, it's very critical to research keywords. So that is where, if you click on the research keyword tab, you will see that a set of keywords are provided to you. And this information is from SEMrush. I think Nihal might have discussed about this.
I know this.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Right. So SEMrush is the tool from where they have identified these keywords. Now, if you look at it, if I change it to 100 keywords, right, you will find that there are roughly around 34 pages. So around 3,400 different keywords. Their search volume, monthly search volume, the competition, suggested bid, etc. is mentioned to you. It is for you to identify, depending on the ad campaign that you are required to do, which keyword should be chosen, which keyword is the most appropriate. So that is where you have the entire keyword available to you. You can think about going through some of the pages. You can think about sorting it out. So if you remember, we had discussed about the short head and long tail of keywords.
Yes.
Yes.
Head keywords is where you
Yes,
have
sir.
very popular keywords. For example, Samsung as a term, as a keyword is very popular. There are millions of people searching for it, but you will find that the suggested bid is not so great. It is low because maybe people are not interested. But if I look for the suggested bids maximum, you'll find that home security is a high suggested bid. So there are multiple reasons this happens. That is for all of you to understand, because if I give more clues, it will be difficult. But this is a platform which will give you all the keywords, and what you can do is you can select which are the keywords which are interesting to you, depending on whether or not you want to use these keywords later on in the campaign. I'm going step by step. You will have to do your own research. So I'm not trying to tell you why I have selected some or not selected some. Next is search engine optimization and website review. So here you basically are talking about what the website is, what is a landing page. You click on it, it will tell you what is a landing page, what was the traffic to the landing page. That information is made available to you. Within the landing page, this is the structure. There is GoPro, Canon, and Panasonic. Within each of them, since we are dealing with one product in this round, we are talking about GoPro Hero 7, Canon Rebel P7, and Panasonic Lumix being the thing. So if you click on any of these pages, you will see what is the path, what is the number of visitors, what is the title, meta description, etc., and what is the traffic that came to this particular page. So you can assess whether or not a page has the potential or has the volume of traffic, etc. So that is what is in the website setup and the landing page activity. Then comes the ad campaign. So I hope you would have seen a little bit of the Google AdWords platform when Nihal was teaching. Yes?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Here, what we are doing is we are talking about how the AdWords campaign works. So you have location. In this round, the location is not changing. It is mentioned here as United States. And please remember, I'm just telling you what are the variables, right? In each of these pages, there's a lot of text that I am not reading through. You are required to read through because that will give you more understanding. At times, you'll also find that there are links provided. So if you click on ad groups, it will take you to Google's page where Google's ad definitions, etc. is provided. If you click on campaign creation, it will take you to another page. More information is there. So people who are not clear, don't give up. Just try to see you have enough information here. Now, this is talking about my overall location, networks, and budgets. Now, here I can go and create an ad group. What do I mean by an ad group? What do I mean by an ad group?
A group of multiple advertisements.
Right, a group of multiple advertisements which can be for a similar objective or a similar duration is generally called an ad group. So here you can create an ad group. You have to name the ad group. So I can put it some name whichever the group feels like. What is the default bid that you want to provide? You can provide your default bid for keywords and then you can individually edit it here, or else you can just put the bids individually. So remember, in the keyword research element, I had checkmarked some of the keywords I was interested in. All of them will populate here. And then I can identify which of these keywords do I want to use and what is the bid that I want to use, etc. If I want more, I click on select keywords. It should ideally take me back to the keyword research tab where I can still continue doing my keyword research. Right? Srishti, question?
So when you were talking about this project, you also said that we will take up some action project, original project with some problems, and then we will do this whole process.
Hold on. See, this is why I think many times we should pay more attention. I said that we have two projects. One project is the simulation, which will account to between 30 to 40% of your total project weightage. Second is going to be the actual project that you will take up. So this here is the first part of your capstone, and the second part will come a little later.
So I wanted to know if the platform will be the same or different. That's what I wanted to know.
It won't be a platform, no. It will be a platform only if you have money and only if your client wants to run advertising. So if that is the case, then you will have to go to search engine platforms like Google Ads. उसके लिए the client has to agree to give you budgets, and if that happens, you'll have to run a real campaign on Google Ads. That will be not on this platform. This is like a tool that will familiarize you to the ads platform.
probably a demo platform which can help us understand more that how the real life situation is going to work, right?
And the good thing is you can spend up to $50,000 here without you actually spending any money. That is the good thing. And
So that's a good part.
it is you don't have to get fired. Robert?
So, like under the hamburger where we are talking about research keywords, SEO, ad campaign, every module needs to be completed within the group in a single week.
Right. See, please remember that even in this particular round, you only have these two as action items.
Yeah.
You only have to write the ad campaign and the email campaign. Rest of the things are information for you to arrive at the decision. Right? So probably if you have done your reading properly, when you come to the ad campaign, you can create it quickly because you know which keywords to choose. And then you can write what is the ad that you want. So this is how you make an ad copy. So whatever I write at the first headline comes here. Second headline comes here. The description comes, destination URL, I can choose which URL do I want to have. And similarly, if I want to have a display URL apart from the original URL that I have, I can also mention that here. So you will find that the ad copy itself changes according to what you are going to provide. So it all depends on which keyword you are choosing. But for that keyword, there will be an advertisement that the consumer will see. When they search for, say, security camera, they will see an advertisement. That advertisement can say buy security camera, that can say world's best security camera, it can say cheapest security camera. Each of them will have a different impact. So that is how you can write the ad copy. This is going to be what Google will show to consumers when they look at it. Right?
So, sir, every day if you are going through the content before we have to do the ad campaign, that can be done altogether on the last day. And we have like for 6 days we have understood the entire.
Right. So Mimic Pro will auto save things also. So you can make, say for example, if I write the ad campaign and I hit on save, right? I need to give a ad group name. So if I hit on save,
oops moment.
Yeah, oops moment. So I have to select keywords, 100 things I have to do. I'm just saving it, I'm not running it, right? So it has saved and it has said that it is there, right? I still have the option to edit it, delete it, etc. Because only when I go to review and submit is the submission happening. So if you want, you can work half an hour every day and make some bit of things done and then come back on a later date and conclude it. That also is possible, right?
Right.
So this is the ad campaign. Similarly, when you come to the email campaign, there are a few things mentioned to you. There are some links provided to beginner's guide for successful email marketing, 9 best email subject lines, certain lips for emails to be opened, etc. If you want, read through. What you're required to do is to create an email campaign. What is the name of the campaign? What is the subject line of the email? What is the from address, to address, or what the from name, to name, etc. Remember, you're doing this to sell a camera. Okay, so you have to contextualize it to the camera. Then you can basically list is anyway selected to blog subscribers. You have a template, you can change the template. You have multiple templates, so I can select one column template and do things. And in these things, I can write the content of the email also, right?
Yeah.
Any oops moments. And once I do that, I will basically have my ad campaign and email campaign done. Then I can go back to my budget. I can see whether I'm spending all my money or not. Your initial brief, at least in this round, your boss is telling you to spend all the budget. So you have to make sure that you have identified keywords and done everything so that you can spend maximum. And after all of that, you come to review and submit. So if you have done everything properly, you will be able to submit it. And since I have not completed the email campaign, I won't be able to submit it. Right? So this is
for every like Mimic Pro, we have two other stimulators. So in this Mimic Pro, for the group, we have two call to action, that is ad campaign and email campaign. What are the total CTAs that the group has to do among the three stimulators?
I didn't get the entire question. For this round, it is to create an search engine.
So there are two call to action for the groups. Like one is your email and the ad campaign.
Right.
For the other two, how many campaigns do we have to do?
I'll show that to you. Right, I'll show that to you.
And once we submit,
sorry Aditya,
do we have to sort of visit it again and optimize it, see performance?
Once you submit it, you cannot revisit the same round. Right? Sometimes you will get a guide to get you information as to where you made mistakes. So that amount of information will be available to you. At times, I might open an access to a grader where you can see where you stand as compared to the other 28 groups. So that is also going to be there in some rounds, not in all rounds. But once you submit and once you complete it, you cannot go back and make changes anymore.
Okay.
So that is why I said, please be a little careful before submitting and make sure that the others have already seen it or have said, "Okay, I am not interested." In that case, you can go ahead and submit. Right. Ajit?
Sir, this 3 simulations in 10 weeks or just the first simulation in 10 weeks?
No, all 3 of them in 10 weeks. So 30 rounds in 10 weeks. Right. Sakshi? Sakshi, you're on mute.
Hello?
Yes.
So I wanted to understand that if suppose by mistake or by design, we review and submit it, and then we feel that we want to improvise on it. We feel I could have done better in picking that keyword or doing something else. Is that possible?
It will happen in the next round.
So when it opens for the next round, I can make changes in my first project also.
No, you cannot. You cannot. See, at the end of the day, when your boss tells you that I'm giving you a budget of 1 lakh rupees, you go and run this campaign. You run the campaign goes flop, then it goes flop. You have to also be sure that second chances are not always provided. No? So that is why there's no coming back once you have submitted. Don't worry, you have 10 rounds. No, make mistakes in the first 2 rounds. Remaining 8 rounds, you can do much better.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Gagan?
So can we, I am sorry I'm saying like that, but can we have a first round as a test demo round rather than a competition amongst all of us? As
what we generally do is, and this is because Gagan has asked, I believe many of you have this question, not all rounds are equally weighted. The initial rounds will have lower weightage, the later rounds will have higher weightage.
So let's review the later rounds only, from the third one. Let's get us the hold of all this nuances.
As you said, every round is having some weightage, but the weightage will be significantly much lower than the later rounds. For example, the last round might have somewhere around 15% weightage, and the first round might have only 5% weightage.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. That makes sense.
You won't lose much. Right.
Sure, sir.
Sir, actually, I just wanted to ask from all of the class, like, did we ever had any session about email campaign? Because when you opened the ad campaign, we were actually aware about it because Tony sir had given a brief about it. So most of the terms are familiar. But when you open an email campaign, everything seems very new. We don't have a theory about it. So if any class in the coming session would be helpful.
We will have sessions on email campaigns. Don't worry. So when I come back to class for the strategy bit, we will discuss email campaigns.
That would be helpful, sir. Okay, thank you.
Generally, many a times email campaigns people feel is waste of time also because people are comfortable with emails and people have used email tools very frequently. So, but we will definitely have those classes now that you asked. Amit?
Yes, sir. As you told, we will be starting it today. So today also we have to submit something, or
no. Your round starts today. The round starts today. So what it means is that your round has started now, so you can make decisions from today onwards. The next round will start on 5th February. That means that for the next round, you can only make decisions after 5th.
Okay.
So we have time till Friday evening to complete the first round because then on Saturday the second round starts.
You have time till Friday midnight. You can aramse complete it. That is why I have started it on Saturday because Sunday you will be able to look at it once and then sit together if you have time. Aditi?
And does the round window close every Friday midnight? Is that?
As of now, I have not set it to close, but Aditya, when you ask this question, you also that you are giving a lot of clues to your colleagues. No? Aditya?
I'm not giving any clues. I'm just saying it can be realistic. Somebody will start.
We can defer it. Just hold on for a round or two and let me know if it is becoming too difficult for you to complete in a week. We can change the dates accordingly. But please remember that it is not going to take more than 1.5 hours if you sit on
Okay.
one round, right? Aditi?
Yes, sir. Sir, irrespective of how we perform in each and every round, the main essence is to learn something out of it, right? So, I would request you to please provide us the feedback like you performed this way, if you could have done this, then it could have been much better. So, this is what I request you, like,
Right. So Aditi,
yeah.
what happens is I don't have to give you the feedback. Many times the tool itself is going to give you the feedback. So it will identify areas where you could have done better, and the guides report is automatically provided. You will understand this, and in cases where feedback is required, we'll also provide you.
All right, so thank you.
So now I'm quickly going to go into the other two also. So I'll come to analytics at the end. Next, I'm going to mimic social. Platform wise, very different, right? Each of them is very different. So mimic social is also going to be very different. The company is called Buvi. Buvi is an e-commerce and retail bag supplier, right? So on the first page, you will see, unlike earlier where you had a video, here you will find that there is an executive summary provided. A set of instructions are provided where Mimic Social's video is there. It's on the top here, instructions, right? So the platform is a little different. You will have to get familiarized with the platform. At least the owners of each of the simulations get familiarized. Once again, when you click on it, there is somebody who will come and explain the entire tool for you. Background is provided, etc. Right? Which are the products that you have to deal with? All the products are provided to you. Duffel bags, backpacks, messenger bags, pouches, totes, travel bags. These are the products. The market, these are the segments that you have. You have back to school Mindy, you have city hopper Sue, you have up and comer Raj, you have energetic Jill, etc. So these are different customer personas, their income, gender, age, the percentage of the market that they capture, etc. Their interests and things like that, which can be used for targeting, is provided. This won't change much in most of the rounds. So even if you study it in the beginning, it is going to be good. Analytics is provided. So when I say analytics, you have entire set of analytics for a particular year provided to you. Facebook ka hai. If you hit on the drop down, you can see Twitter, you can see Instagram. In each of them, you will find like and comments, you will find clicks, you will find shares, you will find followers, you will have conversions, you will have revenue generated, etc. Of course, the units are going to be a little different, but mostly it is going to be intuitive and easy for you to understand. Next is going to be the budget. So the budget is talking about the objective that you have. So you have a weekly budget of 5,000. Spend as much of your budget as possible, and all the other things that have to be done is mentioned here. And then comes the goals. Goals basically are either going to be spend the entire budget, spend the budget wisely, growing brand awareness, increasing engagement, increasing sales, outperforming your peers. All of these are going to be different objectives, right? Now, if I come to weekly memos, it is going to tell you what is that particular week's objective. So here your boss is saying that the CMO has given you a set of updates, you can read it, and some specific details about what each of these terminologies mean is also provided to you. Some links, like in the earlier cases, to articles which are important are provided, or articles which have some insightful information is also provided for you to read. Once I come back, I basically have posts to create. So I have a budget of 5,000, and in this round I have used only this much. These are the posts that I have to create and the scheduling tab, right? So here I can talk about post on Facebook, post on Twitter, post on Instagram, post on Pinterest, posting it on LinkedIn, and posting it on YouTube. So I can have any kind of post. In each of these aspects, when I look at posting it on something, I basically can write the message which I am interested in. I can basically look at what is the content that the agency has created for me and given it to me. For example, a company would have hired an agency or hired a photographer to come out with content. So all that content that I would want to use is provided in the form of memes, in the form of celebrations, in the form of beautiful pictures. So I can select it whether I want to have advertising content, whether I want to use videos, whether I want to use infographics, whether I want to use holiday advertisements, etc., etc. And some of this content is free of cost because you will see $0. Some of this content is going to be costly, $3,000, $1,200, $1,500, etc. So when you have a given budget of $5,000, you are now forced to make a call whether you want to do an organic campaign using content which is very good but costly, or you want to do a paid campaign using content which is free but then you're promoting it, right? So content can be done here. Again, instructions are provided: channel selection, frequency type, schedule, etc., etc. When is that you want to post it? How do you want to schedule it, etc.? If you remember, when we had gone to the scenario, we had analytics. See if you have any information that comes here with regard to engagement at a given point of time for the users that you're interested in. So if your users are generally interested in engaging at a given point of time, that helps you in scheduling things accordingly. Then comes the question of whether you want to go promoting it or not. So if I go for promotions and hit on yes, I see that, remember Tony had discussed about audiences, creating new audiences, saving new audiences, etc. So you can identify the age group, you can identify the gender. There was a demographic profile provided to you where there were interests mentioned. You can choose those interests here. You can decide how much budget. You can decide whether to save this audience or not. If you save the audience, it will pop up here. Similarly, you can do it for most of the platforms. If you go here, you can find a similar platform and you can create ads, both organic as well as inorganic, and depending on the rounds that come in, you will have different variations of this. But this is the search social platform as compared to the ads platform. The ads platform, you are essentially creating search engine advertisements. Here you are running a social media marketing campaign, either a free campaign or an organic campaign, or you are running a promoted campaign, a paid campaign, for which you have to identify how much money to spend. Yush?
No, sir, I don't have any questions. Sorry to my hand was.
Sir, what if any help required then, sir?
Sorry, Dhananjay?
Sir, what if any help required at later stage?
What kind of help?
Means so whatsoever, because I have joined late bit.
Late in today's session or late in the course?
Today's session. I was studying, sir.
The video will jayega na? For 3 days you have the video, no? So you basically have the entire walkthrough. And for people who still have doubts, please look at the video from today so that you get a walkthrough of the entire thing and familiarize yourself. Nritya?
And sir, we can call you as well na, in case if we are still not able to get from the videos.
Don't expect me to give you solutions, right? Otherwise,
Sure, sir, I understand that, but wherever we are stuck kind of a thing, I guess it will be really helpful and generous of you if you let us call you.
Sir, एक और disclaimer दे दिया है. अभी तक
Don't call me and ask me कि sir मैं ये keyword use करूँ कि दूसरा keyword use करूँ.
No, sir, I'm sure of it. I will not ask such question, but yes, I am sure that I will end up calling you entire course. Entire course I have not bugged you, but I feel that this time it is going to be difficult for me also to do everything on myself.
Sir, we don't expect any solution, but we expect clues.
गगन की ज्यादा अच्छा आएगा तो हम यही बोलेंगे आपने इसको किया है
ये देखो
सर हम इमेजेस एडिट कर सकते हैं
No clues are given to anyone, no?
So can we have this video of your session till the caption project is over?
Video of which session?
Your session, this session.
This particular session?
Yeah.
That is not a problem. We can make that available. As and when it is required, we can make that available because anyway it's not academic content and examinations are not going to happen. It's just familiarizing. No? But please also remember that मुझसे अच्छा ये familiarize कराने का video आपको YouTube पे भी मिल जाए, right? So don't look at solution videos, don't look at people telling you that, okay, this keyword and that keyword, etc. Don't look at any of that because you won't learn. Just look at how the platform is. In this video, of course, we can make it available, right?
Gavin, you just got a clue, by the way.
Because I searched to get
Easy is the answer.
ये आप ऐसे ऐसे क्लू थ्रो कर रहे हो, ये तो सबको ध्यान देना पड़ेगा कि आप क्या करें.
But the thing is,
Sir, all ears to you today. All ears to you.
but don't use any solutions because that is not going to help you learn. My understanding is every year we run the simulation. So I run 2 simulations. One is this for understanding the platform. The other simulation we generally do it for the MBA students because they have a course which is outrightly strategy related. So it's a marketing course where digital is spoken. So there we use a strategy simulation called MarkStrat. So in both of these simulations, generally the students who come back to me and say that they have learned the most are the ones who had made a lot of blunders in the initial rounds. So you make mistakes, then you learn, and then you go back and improve it. So that is, I think, the best way.
Sir, I have the same question as that of Jay. He is saying that if we can add on the images or edit images in social. So I have the same question, if we can add on our own images for the email campaign or the other campaign in Mimic Pro as well.
No, I don't think so. You cannot do it. ये आपको option देगा नहीं. Right. So anything, it's a very simple platform. Just try to play around with it. I don't think that is possible. You cannot add it. It's like all of you have played video games, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Super Mario खेला होगा ना आपने?
Yes, sir. I
Mario
remember.
comes and goes into the palace to save the princess. But can we change the palace and put a different building, maybe the Empire State Building? No, we cannot. Because that's how the game has to be played, right?
Sir, the Empire State Building rests with you, with our grades.
Don't worry about the grades. None of you will do bad. All of you will do well. And even otherwise, the idea is not to get maximum grades. It is just to make sure that you learn well.
So on what metric are you going to evaluate us on this? Assuming that all of us, for example, in the social simulator have got the same project on boohie bags, on what parameter are you going to evaluate us?
All of you are going to get the same project. All of you will have boohie bags, and all of you will be required to spend the same amount of money. But depending on how you are going to do things, there are going to be different results that will come out. For example, the simulation at the end, the backside is a mathematical model. So any input that is asked of you is basically a variable in the mathematical model. Let's say that you have y is equal to ax plus b. I'm sorry, I'm boring you. Y is equal to ax plus b is a mathematical model. No? It's an equation of a straight line. So a is basically the intercept, and
B is the intercept.
X is equal to ax plus b. I said a is equal to something else. X is equal to y is equal to ax plus b. If this is the model that you're trying to run, then a is basically your slope and b is basically your intercept. Depending on how a and b change, the line is going to be very different, right? So similarly, in this case also, depending on how you decide to run this campaign, the results that you achieve are going to be very different. So how can you decide which is the input that you should provide? That is where you have to understand what the objective is. You have to look at what is the analytics that is provided. You have to look at what social media matrices are asked of you, etc. And then you will have to make those decisions. So don't worry, it is not going to be a very nightmarish activity, but then you have to see that if it is asking you to increase the engagement with one segment, then you choose images and choose age groups depending on that particular segment. Once you do that, you will score better than another group which might not have paid that much attention to that. Does it give you an idea?
So it does. So therefore, my second question is that the case study for us for all these 10 sessions are going to remain the same, and the objective is also going to remain the same, or will it change every week?
No, round after round your objective will change.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Round after round it will change. Piyush? Okay. Prachi?
So just a small question that you were showing the Mimic Social. So do we have options to create multiple posts within a single channel? Because I could see only one post creation and scheduling it. So would it be possible to create multiple posts to see what is working?
You'll have to try it. I think it is possible. Uh, we selected Facebook first, no? Okay. Possible? So one I have done for October 16th, one I have done for October 9th.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir.
Sumit?
Yeah. So my question is, Professor, for example, if I have created a campaign for Facebook, is it possible to run same campaign for all the platforms?
You can just recreate it. No? You can just
So
do
I
it.
have to recreate. There's no other option to select all the platforms and run.
Right. I don't think that option exists. You can recreate it.
Okay.
Srishti?
Sorry, so my question is with respect to this post, I can see that date is like 16 October or something like that. Whenever we will actually make it live, this after reviewing and submission, we will get the datas like we get in real platforms, all those things we will get the numbers. So
Right.
the date will not be like this.
And in social, you have another additional round. So after every round of decision, there is a debrief round where you'll have to answer some questions also. So once you run the campaign, the first round, it will give you a small window where you will be asked to answer a few questions, simple questions, but it will ask you to answer a few questions. For example, if I just show it to you. This is my dashboard. Because this dashboard is going to have some information which, so all of you who have logged into the course are here. So I'll find that answers, right? So for each round, after you run the campaign, it will ask you for some simple questions. So for the first round, how many new followers, how many impressions, how many total reactions, etc. But as you go to the advanced rounds, it will be asking you to look at analyzing the results, and it will ask you to do a lot of other things, right? Rather than just asking you to count numbers, it will ask you to analyze them. So that is one additional round that is there in social.
Yeah, because I can see 20. One more thing, sir. Because this is like the first time. So first time we are not that well versed with this platform. Next round onwards, we will become a bit handy about this. Can you please ensure, I don't know if it's possible, can you make this instead of 5th February, our first round should complete next week because we also have 2 exams.
Round completion, that is the clue I gave to Aditya. No, round completion I have not defined. I have defined round starting.
Okay,
right?
so okay, got it.
Round will start on next Saturday. That doesn't necessarily mean that your first round ends there. But I would request you to finish the first round because you have seen how much it's costly, and it is something that will help you. So please do it systematically. Right? Google DMA, Digital Marketing Analytics, Prasad.
Sorry?
You had something to say?
Yeah, sir. I just want to know all the 10 rounds, whether our module will remain same or whether we can interchange.
Module will remain same in the sense. So, what is the simulation you have received?
I have a Mimic Pro now.
Right. So, if you have Mimic Pro for all the 10 rounds, your simulation will be Mimic Pro. But then within the group, if you want to interchange accounts, you can do that. But please make sure that passwords, etc., are changed to something which doesn't compromise your generic passwords. So don't use common passwords, etc. But preferably, I would request one person to have ownership for all 10 rounds of one simulation. The others can learn from this because otherwise, over a period of time, maybe after 4 or 5, nobody is taking ownership of a particular simulation, and so the group doesn't work on it any longer. Don't have such situations.
Got it.
Right? Quickly to tell you, but that I'll leave to the wisdom of the group, how you do. But if you keep switching accounts from different computers, different locations, etc., there is a likelihood that there will be a account freeze or things like that. That can happen. Right? So here is digital marketing analytics. In digital marketing analytics, again, there are 10 rounds. These rounds are for A/B testing initially and then optimization, etc. Right? What do you mean by A/B testing?
Comparing two,
Comparing two campaigns with a different subject.
Right. And so you have understood what A/B testing is, and that is why I said we can go live with this also. So here you will have, this is your marketing director and you are the marketing executive. He will, I'm sorry, yeah, he will give you some brief about what is required from you week after week. Some quick recap is provided, what does A/B testing mean, etc. Then when you go to objectives, they are basically telling you to design a series of trials testing the product image. That is what is to be done here on the Groovy landing page to maximize return customer visits. What are the things that you have? All of these details are provided to you. Please read through all of them. And then comes the A/B testing or trials. So here the variable of interest is image. You have different images mentioned. You have different ways in which these images can be presented. Once you click on the image panel, it basically has some basic elements provided to you. You can have border, you can have background color, you can have the image size, you can have the image which needs to be projected to customers, how many thumbnails should be provided, what should be the alignment. So if it's right, it comes here, and if it is left, it comes on this side. If it is on the center, it comes on the center, right? So similarly for type B also, I can choose all of these parameters separately. I can decide, I'm just quickly doing it. Now I have two variations. One is variation A, one is variation B. What am I allowed to do? I am basically allowed to do 12 A/B tests, which basically are aimed at maximizing the percentage of return customers. So once I have defined the test A and test B, I can run this trial. There is a difference between run simulation and run trial. Run trial is where I'm just testing the A/B test for this particular combination, and then I'm learning from it. So once I hit run trial, it will basically run the A/B test and it will give me some numbers, right? Depending on what I was doing, it will tell me trial A, which I used, clicks were these many, conversions were these many, time on page was this much, returning customers, visits, unit transactions, clone test, etc., etc. So it will give me some elements of interest. Now, from this, if my objective, before you ask a question, Prasad, let me just say, if my objective was to increase returning customers, which metric am I interested in?
Returning
Returning customer one. The first one is
The units per transaction.
Which of the two variations is better for me?
1A, 1A.
1A.
1A is good for me, which is 1A, the green bag with a center console, etc. 1B was something very different. So I know 1A is doing good. Now I can clone 1A and I can change the second variation and I can run this test again. So I can run it 12 times before I have to identify what is going to be the best for me. And once I run it 12 times, I can select among all of these 12 which is the best image for getting maximum return customers to come to the website, right? Are you able to understand what the objective is, right?
Yes.
So in the first round, I have the image to do, but please remember that you have 12 rounds that you can play around with. So try to maximize these 12 rounds and try to get to the best segment. Next is to maximize conversion. So you will have a different set and you might have to adjust pricing, you might have to adjust something else. Next is to maximize order size, maximize click on homepage, etc. And then finally, you will have optimizations, right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All of these things, more or less, we have discussed in many of the earlier classes. A/B testing, optimization, ROI.
Yes.
So that is why we thought we will go live with this, right? So the session today was just to give you a familiarity. I have not taken you in detail about what needs to be done, etc. That is for you to learn and you to click. So please spend some time and learn it. Let me take Subin and Amit's question also.
Yes, sir. Will we be getting a result after the submission, or you will be only getting the results?
You will get results after submissions. In case you don't get results, please remember that it's because I have restricted the platform to give you results. In those situations, I'll be giving you the results. Right?
So would that mean that we have performed critically bad? That is why you're
Again, Gaganji, if the platform knows, then the platform knows beforehand because it will give you the results in 2-3 seconds. Platform, unlike employees at organizations, don't need to seek approvals. No? So I'll have to decide it beforehand that I don't need to provide you certain results. If that is the case, you won't get it. I will be reaching out.
So that is going to be scary. Please don't do that. I'm going to have a mini heart attacks all the time. I'm not going to get my results. So.
See, like I told you, simulations are like any other exercise. You have to work hard to fail. And in simulations, the only way you will fail as a group is in case you don't submit your rounds. In case you don't play it, you will fail for sure. If you work and if you make mistakes, let me assure you that you will still not fail in this course.
Sure, sir.
Sir, and of course, the scores affect the final the grade, right?
Right, they will affect the final grade, but aren't we all grown enough to grade?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I understand.
So on what basis you actually gave evaluation?
So every class we grow up the grades, but the moment we get a schedule that okay, on this date you have an exam, we get back to our school days and get scary feeling about sitting in the exam and failing for sure.
Don't worry. Sneha ji?
एक ईमेल करा है मैंने उसका डिस्कशन करना था.
Email about videos for review?
Yes.
Not allowed. We had.
But we don't remember that anything.
We had this discussion earlier, and when we had discussed about postponing the exam, I had told you very specifically that when you postpone it, you stand the chance of not remembering things. So don't worry. Everybody remembers or has forgotten to an equitable amount, so don't worry about it.
Sir, we had asked some PPTs from Professor Tony, but we did not get it.
Let me remind him to send you the notes and the PPTs. If you haven't received, I will make sure that you get it.
So there is another, what Tony sir had shown a template of an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
And we had requested him that he will.
One of you can do one thing. One of you can just again populate it on the WhatsApp group. What are the things, PPTs, notes, Excel template, etc. So that I'll forward it to him once I receive it. Right? Just send me an email with these two things.
For the Excel template, I raised a request in that link just about just before we started this session. I raised a request in the link he had provided. But yeah, I think it will further help if you can also.
I'll tell him. I'm meeting him on Tuesday also.
Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just wanted to know your recorded session 3 days के लिए available कहाँ पर होता है? I'm sorry I have not yet found that.
Right.
Which is why I could not actually refer to any of those.
Okay.
I see one video which is uploaded and that is for Professor Manoj, which is still available there, but I have not found any other recorded session.
No, it is not available now.
Let me just ask Hridya. So somebody under the archive title on the LMS is where
archive पे रहता है. Archive पे रहता है.
Just check it if it is not available there, and irrespective of what the condition is, tomorrow I'll ask somebody to send you an email with instructions to where the link.
Sure. Professor, एक बार ये सारे Professor Tony के दे दो. One last time 3 days में सारा पढ़ सकती
है. होता क्या है ना स्नेहा जी, because Tony का हो गया, फिर then you will ask for Prof. Ashish Sadh, then you will ask for the next faculty who comes. So these are things which the institute has decided as a policy, and the only reason why I have been able to convince my colleagues that we will provide you recordings for 3 days is because we told them that we will not be providing recordings indiscriminately till the end of the program. होता क्या है कि once you have recordings before the exam, there is no reason for you to listen to the faculty in class, and that over a period of time deteriorates the quality of the program already. So that is why consciously we have done this, but I'll request only to include clues about questions he has asked in the PPTs and what.
Because there are going to be 2 modules that the test could be, and same एक ही दिन में अगर होना है तो हमें पढ़ना क्या exactly है? I'm sure about, and the classes also had been so confusing for us. Please,
I'll ask him to send you notes or PPTs where there are clues among other things. So if you read and prepare the notes and PPTs, you'll have answers.
I just hope our children don't hear this part of the recording. Just in case.
Okay.
There are actually 2 exams.
There is one exam, no? Means
No. There is for DART and then there was SMM. These are two.
It is the same exam. It has 2 parts, and the grades will come out separately.
So no. It's like there is one science but has 3 parts. One is physics, one is chemistry, one is bio.
If you want, one exam can be deferred to another week. That is not a problem. But then after 1 week, you would have forgotten those many concepts as well, right? So that is why when Vidya asked me whether we should have 2 exams for 1 exam, I told her that it's better to have it without delaying it much further.
Does that mean the exam is going to...
Sorry?
2 exams कौन से? एक ही तो exam है ना? 2
Two. One is DART and one is of SMM.
Second is social media. So now we are having one exam which has 2 sections. One section will be questions from display advertising. The other section will be questions from SMM. So in effect, it is the same exam. Two sections are being assessed here.
So would that mean the exam is going to be for an hour?
Both only Tony and the office knows. I haven't come across the question paper, so I don't know the duration.
Sure, sir.
आपको mail आया होगा ना with instructions?
Just 1 PM is written and 2 exams.
Okay. When is the exam tomorrow? Is it?
No, 5th.
Okay. Okay. So I'll tell Vidya to send you the basic instructions also. What kind of exam and what duration.
Sure, sir. That will really be helpful.
Right. Cool. Yes. All good. Otherwise, I can expect all of you to work hardly on this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Don't make it hardly.
You're playing with words, sir. Not right.
Sorry?
Still persistent.
Unintended.
Professor still persistent. SMM के session मतलब डार्ट के ही दे दो कम से कम.
Hey, as a policy, you wouldn't be able to do that scenario. Otherwise, if it was in my hand, I would have.
Professor, if it helps, आप बस handsome लग रहे हैं. आज. हाँ. Again, if it helps to get the videos.
But really, बात तो होगी ना. You have to probably tell me this before my exam happen. Thank you. But
are you a fan of Allu Arjun?
I like Allu Arjun. Fan of Allu Arjun. It was very funny. What happened is that the third wave came. I thought anyway I'm not going to meet a lot of people, and I had a break between classes, so I thought let me grow the beard.
प्रोफेसर वो करके बताओ ना, अब वो नहीं झुकेगा.
Sorry.
You can say अब वो नहीं झुकेगा.
That is a dialogue in Pushpa, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir.
I only watched the song, I have not seen the movie. I should.
You must see the movie, sir.
Okay. So take care, all of you. Please work on the simulation and let me request all of you to do one thing. Probably by the coming week on Friday or on Thursday, let me know if you are finding it too difficult to complete in a week. Right? It will be ideal if you can all give a consensual decision. This is what the batch feels. 1 week is good or 1 week not good. Because otherwise, what happens is we will not be able to change the timelines, right? So it should be possible because I have been running the simulation. No round will take you more than 1.5 hours, right? And I'm talking about the most advanced rounds where a lot of data is required. You'll have to download the Excel sheet, calculate ROIs, etc. Those rounds will take 1.5 hours to decide. The other ones don't take that long. So try to work on this week itself, if provided tomorrow itself, and let me know if it is too difficult for you to complete. Depending on that, you might think about changing the deadlines or changing the start dates.
So 1.5 hours for you is 4 hours for us, no?
Maybe not for me, for all participants that have access to these simulations. Means I am going to take much longer because I have the habit of thinking too much. But generally for participants, it is between 30 to 90 minutes that every round is going to be required.
Okay. Professor, I need one clarification. So I observed this one thing in the session schedule calendar, wherein it's not mentioned that there is any session on 5th or 12th. It just straight away shows the week after that, which is on the 19th.
Yeah, on
Today,
19th I'm seeing 2 sessions.
today you completed 6 sessions of Prof. Ashish sir, if I'm not
4
mistaken.
sessions.
4 sessions you have completed.
Yeah.
So
The
the next,
next is scheduled for 19th after 2 weeks.
let me try to find out from Vidya tomorrow why that is there.
Yeah. So we have an exam on next Friday, and then another 2 Saturdays there are no schedules, and I think on the 19th it is scheduled.
ठीक है. Okay. Let me try to find out, and tomorrow itself or Monday itself, I'll ask her to correct it in case it's a mistake. If it is not a mistake, then you can plan for some activities with family.
Sure.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, that was the purpose to
I
clarify.
understand. Right. So I'll let her clarify it Monday itself.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, all of you. I'll take leave now.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
सर जीतू जी का वीडियो.
सर चले गए सर.
Hey, this simulation is after all the exams, right? That social media and display marketing. After that only this comes now. So the submission date, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Jiten, you can share the link of your video.
हाँ ग्रुप पे
in the group.
देखेंगे.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Yeah, he has already shared.
अरे फीडबैक फॉर्म आया था ना, क्या हुआ?
भर दो.
ऑटोमेटिकली आता है वो, लिंक नहीं भेजते हैं, इट ऑटोमेटिक पॉप्स
आता है और चला जाता है. आया और चला
तो
गया.
अभी मुझे
विवेक जी?
में
ऑल गुड.
ऑल गुड पापा.
काफी ध्यान से आप सुन रहे थे सेशन को, मैंने देखा.
हाँ, बीच में सो गया था मैं.
वहाँ मस्त कुर्सी पे टेक लगा के ये जो सिमुलेशन का सेशन चला है ना आपका,
बढ़िया था. अभी काम का शुरू हुआ ऐसा लगता है.
अभी चालू है.
हाँ नहीं, ये अभी डिजिटल मार्केटिंग शुरू हुआ.
हाँ ये बढ़िया है, सही है, मस्त है. और सब सही
बढ़िया.
हो?
हाँ हितेश जी आए हैं राजकोट, तो आज मिलने वाले हम लोग चाय के.
अरे बहुत बढ़िया. हैव फन. मौज खा के.
चलो बाय
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 बाय एवरीबॉडी.
बाय बाय.